That's the end of the intro paragraphs, guys.
Alright.
You've read it, Auger?
Yes, sir.
Is that okay?
It's good.
So is it just us three there in the cherubim, or is there anything else?
As it says, you're surrounded by the tech rights who are going through the motions of preparing the teleportarium for transit. Due to the constraints of the crusade and the current shortage of personnel, they were only able to assemble a strike squad of 3 Deathwatch for this operation, obviously. However, given the seriousness of the operation, it is decreed that 3 will have to be sufficient. Watching from the mezzanine above the teleportarium will actually be the watch captain, the interface between the Inquisition and your own kill team.
Theros looks up to the sort of overbooth and gives a small sound to Aquila before looking over his 2 Deathwatch companions.
You see the shadow of the captain incline its head slightly at your gesture. Have we lost Haplopage?
I'm still not sure how this goes.
Well, as Sin said, he looks over to his companions. Feel free to roleplay your character here. You know, you have a few moments before the tech rights will have completed their preparations. Already the air is beginning to smell of ozone.
Theros stops and looks at Hojo's character and gives a small nod, saying his own name, Theros.
Look away, brother.
Your name?
Look away! Names are not important right now.
Theros
He bears this chapter symbol of the Marine's Malevolent on one shoulder pad. If Theros is familiar with this might not be unexpected.
Theros looks towards Howell's character.
I nod at him. Never mind him. I don't even think they gave him proper equipment for this mission.
It's proper enough.
So in a sort of rhetorical sense, Theros speaks out to the room. And who'll be leading this?
Oh god, yeah, sorry. Designation of the leader, in the absence of a superior, in the absence of another superior, usually falls to the librarian or the tactical marine. However, because Deathwatch is a band of equals, it's sometimes left for kill teams to sort out their own hierarchy as required in the field, with leadership rotating between marines suited to the different tasks.
Oh, crud.
I think that's actually one of the source books. However, if you're looking for a more traditional hierarchy, choose a leader now.
Whoever drew the penis on Jericho's Reach sector on Roll20.
Wait, what?
Alright.
Enjoy
I
that.
agree. Avil, take point.
You see the zone it's going into?
Theranos moves into position onto the teleport array and just sort of falls silent and stands there.
Thinking of that map. Right, are you ready for the activation?
I'm willing to follow the psyker if anything technical comes up. Just pay attention.
So what's everyone doing?
Oh shit, wasn't everybody ready?
No.
I've never actually done this mixed kind of roleplay before. I'm finding the text easier to get the detail in, but I don't know. It's odd, so I do apologise.
I feel like if we're gonna do bodily gestures, that should be text. If we're going to actively say something, we should say it ourselves.
Very well.
How do y'all feel about that?
Sounds good.
Sure.
I will see, my desk is completely swarmed in bits of paper right now, so
Usually the case.
I'm going to avoid text.
Fantasy Flight games are not light on the bookkeeping. Do you want me to delete that one until you're ready to all prepare on the pad?
Unless anyone's looking to
By the way,
do anything
Havel,
in particular,
Hojo, is this your first role-playing game, guys?
That's no,
Yep.
it's not.
It's mine.
Oh, Jesus Christ, why do I have to be the guy to break someone in? If this turned you against the hobby for the rest of the time, Hojo, I'm so sorry.
What? Oh, this is nothing bad. No, I probably shouldn't say that.
I guess
That's a
we
little
should probably say, just try to at least say what your character is doing in different situations, and try and speak and act it out when you can. And after this is over, you'll be a lot more used to it than you were just now.
Nobody's judging you here. It's basically, well, Sin might be relentlessly, but it's effectively a combination of improv acting and storytelling, and it's a shared experience. So, feel free to add your own details. Or
I'm just having a hard time figuring out what I should be doing right now.
Well,
Well, we're standing.
It's not so much about what you're doing; it's about what your character's doing.
He's waiting for someone to do something.
We're standing on the pad getting the beacon strapped onto us right now, so.
Yeah, assume that the bottom paragraph won't happen until everything's ready. But yes, at the moment, the tech priests are attaching the teleportarium homers to your armor and ritually blessing them. This is a process you may not have actually gone through as an Astartes, because even amongst the Titanic warriors of the various chapters, warp translation is a relatively rare technology. It's not something commonly engaged in, except possibly by the first companies of the Codex chapters.
Well, there you go. There's no way a Marine's Malevolent's gonna know what any of this is, bar myself knowing what the hell is happening. So yes, my confusion is exactly what's happening.
The tech rights are all heavily augmented, and there's an awful lot of prayer involved with this. You can sense that this is going to be a risky endeavour, even for the Deathwatch.
There is no fear, there is only malice.
As the Marine's Malevolent begins mouthing a prayer under his breath, preparations are completed, and the tech rights clear the pad.
The Emperor protect.
The Watch Captain's voice echoes over your Voxnet comm beads in your ears. Go with the Emperor's grace, brothers, and bring death to the enemy. With that, the activation ritual begins. When you have finished reading the bottom paragraph, please let me know. Are you okay with this so far, Havel?
Yep.
I'm done with the part.
Actually, type in chat a plus when you're done. There you go, so Sin's read it. What transpires is an experience that would break anyone short of an Astartes. For the briefest of seconds, you are hurtled through the Immaterium itself, effectively surrounded by a personal bubble of reality, no bigger than your own form. Sin, I'm pretty certain you do, but Havel and Hoja, do you know what the warp kind of looks like?
Yeah.
You've seen the pictures. Okay, this is for Hoja.
Can't possibly imagine it, but alright.
Bear in mind this is subject to change, but this is a picture of warp transit for a ship.
Oh, alright. That was exactly like I thought it would be. Fucked up beyond reason.
Mercifully, thanks to the Teleportarians' ancient technology, your minds are spared the full glimpse of the horror. Amongst all of them, what's your character's name, Sin?
Theros.
Amongst all of the small kill team, Theros perhaps has the clearest idea of what you're passing through, and it is horror beyond imagining. And for the briefest of seconds, you feel its hunger. Without your skein of reality, you would be devoured in a heartbeat.
I don't know if there's anything I can really say at this point.
No, kinda. Not
Next
really real though.
paragraph. You slip out of the Immaterium, and it's not so much a flash of light as the splitting of a membrane, almost as if you would leave blood with every footstep as you step from your transit. In future years, perhaps you might even awaken upon the cold stone slabs of your individual cells, with the momentary disquiet that this transit would bring. Fortunately, however, none of you are space wolves, a chapter known for its true distaste of warp travel. However, it seems your translocation is successful. All three members of the battle of the kill team are present.
Theros grabs at his bolter and just mutters under his breath, "By the blood." Flickers his eyes around and tries to take in the surroundings. What sort of layout are is it just a general corridor we're in just now, or is it a sort of main room?
It appears to be a transit point somewhere in the ship's spine. The projected ingress point planned by the tech priests was to bring you as close to the bridge as possible. 1 second, supplemental paragraph.
Alive! Good.
It won't be long until they know we're here.
Haha! Also good.
I'm gonna look about for a terminal to access.
Beneath the almost fungal catacombs of the it's almost metallic, but it quivers and sweats in the manner of flesh. You can see where simple utility terminals for the use of the crew once were located. Your auspexes have been updated with the latest that they had on the class of ship that the Hollow King is suspected to be. It is an incredibly old model of ship, the Grand Cruiser class. The Imperium hasn't used those for thousands of years, mostly now found in Chaos fleets. However, beneath this strange machinery, there is no sign of Chaos corruption. Theros, your senses, you would know instantly if the shivering horror of Chaos permeated this place, and you don't feel it. What you do feel is just as unsettling, but it's more akin to a pulsing heart, or a throbbing machine almost.
I would like to use a psychic ability.
By all means, please
I'd like
roll.
to use Augury, which is read the Emperor's Tarot, to divine. Fuck, I don't even know what that says. Divine mind of the future. Basically, I want to use that in sense of trying to figure out where the sort of brain would be, the center heart, if you will.
Understood. And Havel, your character, or was it Auger that's seeking to access the terminal?
No, I'm seeking to access the terminal.
Understood. Your massive armoured fingers are oversized for this terminal. This was sized for a mortal human once, thousands of years ago, perhaps. So your gloves, you don't struggle, but it takes a moment to tear away the foul living machinery from the console. It does still appear to be active. However, are you bringing it online if you can?
Yeah, I'm gonna check it over and see if it can be brought back to life.
You bring the screen up, and garbled nonsense fills the display. What should have been a clean, basically a clean interface with the ship's cogitators it's just mindless patterns and binary static. It's entirely possible this terminal has been as corrupted as the rest of the ship. You're a tech marine, aren't you? The blasphemy of this place is rampant. This is not clean machinery. This is not the sacred methods of Mars, proved by the Emperor in aeons past. This is aberration. You are surrounded by fungal catacombs of unclean Xenos filth. And for a tech marine, perhaps it's even more apparent.
The machine spirit is suffering, brothers.
Given the extent of the corruption all around you, it's very likely that this ship's machine spirit is long lost.
Whatever Xenos workings, Jester at the hull, and all the fungus stuff has clearly driven the machine spirit of this ship mad.
As you gesture your hand towards it, another one of these strange, almost knotted tumor-like structures puffs another gout of fungal spores across the gauntlet, your suit's gauntlet, and they stick momentarily. It's abhorrent.
I'm gonna rip it off the wall with my Macandrite.
Comes off with the stickiness of flesh, but also with a tearing of what appears to be circuitry. And as you do so, there's almost a shiver from the structure around it.
Are all machines like this on the inside Tech Marine?
No.
Sim, have you read your power?
I have indeed. The description of it is, by reading the Emperor's Tarot for a specific individual, the Psyker can grant insight into what troubles lay ahead. During the reading, both the Psyker and the subject must remain in contact, and no other actions may be taken by either of them. The Psyker then must ask a specific question, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this. It can be as detailed as, what must my battle brothers overcome if they're to enter the Patriarch's lair, or as broad as, what dangers face the chapter. After that, the Psyker reads the Emperor's Tarot, and then I've got a roll on the table.
Oh man, it might have helped if we did that sooner.
It sounds like it would be appropriate here, actually.
I think so.
You may question the fate of your kill team. So make your roll.
So what will I be rolling on? Will it be willpower?
It's a willpower test for a psychic power.
So let's see. 1d100. And I have a warp sense, which lets psychic sign skills be a half action instead of a full. I'm not sure if that helps it. But I've literally rolled a 1 out of a d100.
That is an incredible success, actually.
It is indeed. That I'm not going to be able to do that, and I can. Hojo and Havel can confirm it's a 1 of a d100.
I had a look. Yeah.
Yeah, he rolled a 1.
Do you mind a brief description?
What do you mean?
As in how the Emperor's Tarot behaves.
Yeah, I can reread the rule if you want.
No, it's fine. You draw the tarot from the pouches.
There is a table here for augury. So it's there is a in the rulebook is a table from 1 to 9 plus. 1 is the Psyker determines the most dangerous opposition that the subject will face. 4 to 6 is as above. Plus the Psyker also determines other negative forces that may be present. The Psyker can determine as many forces as his psychic rating. 7 to 8 is all of the above, plus the Psyker determines the best advantages or tool that the subject can use for the situation. And 9 plus is all the above, plus the Psyker may offer a single sentence of advice to the subject concerning the clearest path to the answer.
Okay. What it sounds like is... Right. One of the rules of role-playing, basically quick and dirty, roll with a shout. You've passed by what, 4 degrees of success there, Sim?
Well, depending on which way you look at on that table, I got the worst result. If it's of a D100, I don't think I can't have got it better.
No, the D100 was to fire the power. Right, roll 1d10 on the table and add 4.
Okay. 1d10 with a plus 4 modifier. I got 13.
Okay, so that's a 9 plus the best possible result.
9 plus 4, yeah.
Right, okay. You draw the Emperor's Tarot, and it drifts in the air in front of you, assembling itself through the power of your, well, some might say unnatural and mutant capabilities. But in this place, oddly clear of warp interference, you receive, through the ebbing and flowing currents of the warp, a sudden flash of brilliant insight. And if you look, just excuse me a second, I've just got to go close the door.
The warp is drafty, brothers. Bear with me.
The ship is weird enough already. The doors are showing up.
Your vision ripples through the tides and currents of the warp, and you realize where you are. You are very close to the planned site of your ingress, in the spine of the ship itself, near the command bridge. All around you, you realize, is a pregnant machine. A manufactorum ready to give birth to something horrible, and there's something else here. Reality itself is distorted. You feel far shores and unnatural arrangements of reality. and you see your battle brothers and yourself struggling through the ship, fighting aberrant currents of gravity and basically spatial distortions where distance becomes infinite. This machine, whatever it is that coats and writhes on the inside of this space hulk, is only part of something far, far bigger and far more hideous. It's almost like the tip of an iceberg poking through this skein of reality. A machine that stretches forever, a living machine, but nothing man could make. And it is ready, basically, in a horrifically disgusting and unnatural fashion to give birth. In the dark holds deep within the ship, far away from its command deck, but deep within, you gain an almost sanity-rending image of the processes in place as it's fruiting the same horrors that it has visited upon other Imperial worlds, and you see clearly that way lies death for all three of you, and for Vespasia Primus.
And do I get any idea of where the heart is at all, from where we are?
Yes, the vulnerability of this place does lie on the bridge. You see, actually, you rolled the maximum result, didn't you?
I did.
You see clearly that by successfully reaching the command bridge, it will be possible to send the battle signal, but you see something terrible up there. Something almost like a flopping sack of flesh extruding itself from the remains of the crew.
The bridge, brothers. Something awaits us there.
Since you succeeded so well, any tests involving basically transitioning through the ship from this point, for every one of yourself and your battle brothers gain a plus 20% bonus. You rolled 1%, it doesn't get any better than that.
What was that, sorry? What do we get? Plus 20% bonus?
Plus 20%. When I call for tests involving stamina or willpower to resist the horrors of the ship as you translate through it, you'll gain a plus 20% bonus.
Huzzah. Alright.
Also,
Who needs a relic sword?
You see as well that soporific, after its translation, this machine is in, I suppose you could call it low power mode almost. However, it has just been wounded unexpectedly and it begins to stir.
So Theros looks between the other two Deathwatch members with him. Something waits for us on the bridge, and we have to be quick.
Do you know what it is, brother?
I have no idea. It's not quite alive, it's not quite dead. Like
The
the
darkness
ship.
befuddles you too, huh?
It befuddles us all, brother. Befuddles. Theros starts heading in the direction of the ship, flashing a glance from Hojo's character to Havel's.
I follow him.
Of all of you, the Tech Marine is by far the bulkiest. However, even though the ship is webbed with blasphemy, at least at this point, you do not find difficult passage through the catacombs. It appears that whatever this thing is, it has not yet noticed your presence, except for that feeling that Theros has clearly, that an unexpected wound has drawn almost like a pain response. Are you ready for the next roll?
I'm looking for my stealth skill. To try and find the standard to start your stealth skill, but I can't find it here.
All the starties have stealth trained basic. There's been a lot of errata about that.
Silent move, I guess, is what would be done with. So Theros gives a signal to everyone else, a sort of standard sort of doctrine signal for quiet move. And we try and sort of picks up his own pace and hurries along. Do I have to make a roll or anything for silent move, or is that just going to be taken into account?
Here it's taken into account. It won't actually be too relevant here, not at this point in time. However, that doesn't actually stop the kill team from adopting a stealthy approach.
Yeah, perfect.
Can you all give me intelligence tests?
Do you want us to roll?
Mm-hmm. When I call for a test, it's to roll against the skill or the stat.
Test is just your... I've never played Deathwatch before, so...
Right, what's your intelligence level?
50.
50, so you roll a d100, and you want to get... Because I'm not assigning any modifiers to this one, based on the condition of the ship versus your archive of data. Effectively, the problems and the benefits cancel each other out, so you need a 50 or less on a d100.
So just straight D100?
I rolled a 1!
Oh my god, you fucking did! I rolled an 87, Havel rolled a 1, and Auger rolled a 17.
To hell with your stealth! We never needed it, brother!
I rolled an 87, but I've got a 42 intelligence rating, so I fucked up. Everyone else passed but me.
I don't understand how that works, but alright.
Well, what's your intelligence characteristic, Kojo?
It's 40.
Yeah, so you had to roll under 40 of a D100. You rolled a 17.
Wait, hold on. So the dumber I am, the easier that was?
No, you're not dumber. You're rolling to get underneath your intelligence rating to pass the test.
Oh, I got
so you could say it's within your intelligence.
Yeah.
So Havel just had an epiphany. I had a brain fart, and Hojo was feeling pretty savvy.
I am blessed by the Omnissiah.
Yes, you have discovered the mathematical perfection in being a coward.
Havel, find a terminal, quick.
Havel. You rolled a 1%, didn't you?
He rolled a 1 of 100, yeah.
Oh my god, right, okay.
The first roll of this game was a 1, and the third roll of this game was a 1. I rolled 1d100, got a 1, and then got an 87 for my intelligence, and then he straight up just went and rolled a 1 straight away.
I'm going to give this one to Havel. Havel, you've served as an Astartes for how many decades now?
About 200, like 200 years.
So you've 2 centuries of service. Your 2 centuries of service have blessed you in this case, because as you pass through the ship, as you enter almost the intestinal tracts of this vile machine entity, you clearly recognize internal features of this vessel's hull, and you are almost certain from previous actions in specific ways that the trussing and the actual bulkheads are arranged in particular machine code, in basically coupled with the data that they have on the Hollow King, that this was once an Avenger class Grand Cruiser. And I shall post you up the data on this.
Shit.
This is what the Hollow King once was, now mashed together with material from the Imperia, and whichever damnable place this horror originates from. But this is the skeleton of the Space Hulk. You served aboard a Grand Cruiser once, Havel will say, and you know your way around these types of ships.
And Havel's at a panel right now, did you say?
Hmm?
Did you say he went to a panel, or he's just kind of realizing it as we go?
It's
I know.
Basically, he's as you're moving, the ship's machine spirits, its cogitators, are probably so corrupted by whatever this is that they are beyond use. But in this case, this is a combination of Havel's cybernetic augmentations, his cortical stacks, and his experience as an Astartes.
While keeping a brisk but quiet pace, Theros speaks back towards the two of their Deathwatch. Did you find anything useful in that terminal, brother?
No, the ship's machine spirit has clearly been driven insane by whatever abomination inhabits it now. But I know from the layout of the bulkheads and other structures that we've passed that this is an Imperial-class Grand Cruiser.
We need to get to the bridge.
And that is where Havel's experience, the Tech Marine's experience, is a blessing, for he the fastest possible routes to the bridge.
Yeah, get behind me, brothers. I will lead the way.
Yes.
Theros kind of just drops his pace a little bit and falls in behind Havel.
You move through the fetid darkness of the cruiser. Wherever you look, it's almost like being underwater, for your vision is clouded by drifting flakes and fragments that gleam with a sort of a cruel red unlight. You cross. Your first glimpse of the inhabitants of this vile ship comes when you cross what was once one of the ship's great transit tubes. The Avenger-class Grand Cruisers, like all of their brethren, are miles long. In order to facilitate transfer of vital crew and supplies from one end of the ship to the other, many of these old vessels had basically possess transit systems, similar to train cars. As you intersect with one of these tubes, you witness what can only be described as great meldings of tumors and spiders, each the size of a rhino, skittering and clawing their way down the transit tube, linking between them coffles of living circuitry. Literally almost like a great line or fire hose of something inexplicable. You have no idea what that machinery might do. But these horrors have no visible eyes, no visible nothing. They are literally bundles of cables and melted flesh, carrying between them this umbilical as part of the inexplicable processes deep within the Grand Cruiser.
Guess that explains what happens to the...
Is this where the calculators go?
Do you all have survival as a skill, or has anybody got survival?
I wasn't sure whether to take it or not, because my character came from a death world, but I couldn't see anywhere where it said that was specifically applicable, other than vaguely in one book.
And we don't have it as a standard skill as Space Marines looking at the character sheet.
And if you came from a death world but you don't have it anymore, it's possible at your time as an Astartes and as a Tech Marine, because you trained on Mars, Havel. Your character as a Tech Marine has actually gone to the Red Planet itself to receive his training. And it's possible that the mortal that you once were on that death world is long gone.
That's true.
If you don't have it, you can make an intelligence test at -10 if you wish to have additional insight to what this may be. Are you alright there, by the way, Auger? Auger?
Let me do it.
Alright, we're not leaving you behind, are we, man?
No. Let's just say I'm trailing behind, a couple of steps behind.
There's not much really to play off of at the moment because I'm Flesh Terror, which are normally reserved, and
yeah,
Tin's a psyker who's closing his eyes every 5 seconds, trying to feel his way through.
All I can really do is search around and make sure that while y'all are busy, nothing jumps at us.
Well, that was close.
I failed the insight test.
Yeah, you rolled a 46, and you said you were 50, but a -10, so yeah, you failed that by 6.
Remember as well, Auger, your opportunity to roleplay is not limited by what you're doing, unless your character is naturally taciturn and not given to talking.
Well, yeah, there's that. Not much to talk about as it is.
Right, did anyone pass?
It was just Havel was the only one that rolled, and he got a 46, so he failed.
At one point, this ship contained a crew of 141,000 people.
Once.
How long will it take us to get to the bridge? Havel.
Based on your estimates, Havel, you think no more than maybe 1 or 2 hours from your present position, based on the ground speed an Astartes can maintain. So for a human, that would be a full running pace.
2 hours at the most.
No, seriously, man, Hoja. An Astartes walk is almost a human run. Their stride is that wide.
Oh, I understand. I just find it exciting.
Ship is 7.5 kilometers long.
So how much ground have we actually made, would you say, Juicer?
To the point where you see these strange machines. You've probably covered maybe half a mile from your ingress point.
Are we travelling a straight path to the bridge, or is it kind of broken?
It would have been once relatively straight based on where you are in the ship's spine. However, due to the corruption which has taken place inside, it's not as straight as it may seem. In fact, now that you come to think of it, you possibly may have made less progress than you thought. There's that uncomfortable feeling at the back of your mind that you've been walking for... You haven't progressed as far as you've walked.
The feeling.
Can I take some kind of... I'm trying to look down the path ahead of us, down the corridor. Considering the roll I got with my augury earlier on, I'd like to make a perception test, and with the power armor, I should be able to get a plus 20 bonus to heightened senses, or a plus 10 to sight or hearing. So I'd like to go for that plus 10, mixed with it, try and see if I can use the fact that I've kind of seen an area of the ship in the augury. See if I recognise anything.
Well, Havel, Hoja?
I think I should be making the roll in the first place since I have the Auspex.
Do it.
I'm just using...
Oh, you have an Auspex, don't you? I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
I sure do.
Do you wish to consult your Auspex?
No. At least if I do, I ain't sharing it.
Wait, what?
So I'll take that roll.
I mean, I can clearly see you have an Auspex.
I'm going to take my roll because that's what I was going to do anyway. I'm not going to rely on Hojo's Auspex. What do I have to roll on here? Would it be
Perception.
Perception, okay. I rolled a 96.
Right, okay.
I got a plus 10 with my auto senses for my power armor. But yeah, that's still nothing.
For the moment, it's a gut feeling. Just something seems off. Something seems off about the distance you've travelled.
Something's not right here, brothers. Is this ship moving?
To hell with your logistics. Let me roll my Auspex.
Last you checked, this craft had transited from the Immaterium at something close to half burn. It's not moving at full speed towards the planet, but it is moving at a steady and relentless pace. So the ship is moving, as in the sense that it's travelling through space. But yes, now that you think about it, it's the uncomfortable feeling almost like the ship is moving around you, other than the peristaltic motion of the machines.
That's exactly what I was getting at. I looked towards the tech marine, rather. This isn't right.
Hoja, can you roll your perception with your 20% bonus for your Auspex?
I'm guessing the armor bonuses are already included? Heightened senses and everything?
No, it should have been further than this.
That's for sight.
For sight?
Yeah, the Auspex is its own bonus, effectively.
Ah, I see.
And Havel, I've forgotten your character's name again.
Fontus?
Fontus is right. You should have come further than this.
Rolled a 39, perception of 47.
Well,
That's
it
success.
was me that said we
That's a
should have
20.
gone for.
Auger, your Auspex readings are all over the place. Radiation within acceptable parameters. Life toxins, extreme, unidentified. Air quality, unbreathable. However, the Auspex cannot get a clear reading of the space you're in. You're effectively at this transit point as these things have passed by. Still trailing, I should point out, that glistening metallic umbilical. The Auspex should be able to perceive the shape of the corridor you're in, as in the tunnel, the transit nexus, the platform, everything else. It can't get a lock on it. The screen just displays a constantly shifting and flickering mass of conflicting data.
Brothers, I was less confused before I used the Auspex. This is expected in the guard.
What do you see?
I see shapes. Shapes I can barely discern. I don't understand. Fontis, borrow this blasted thing. I do not wish to trouble myself or the others of us with it.
Take a look at it and can clearly discern that it is functioning correctly.
It is functioning correctly. A brief communion with its remarkably simple machine spirit confirms that it is functioning as it should. The Auspex cannot clearly read the ship structure around you.
Do I use tech use for the?
No, you won't need to roll for this. This it's whether you succeed or fail. Basically, doesn't advance the game. This is a story point.
Goddamn.
The Auspex doesn't know whether it's in a tunnel or a space whose dimensions it can't reach. So for one moment it's seeing the tunnel, and the next moment it might as well be in a space, an empty space the size of a planet.
What am I getting from the warp around here?
The ship is unstable and might be phasing in and out of the warp.
In other words, we are in a spot that isn't exactly here.
Yeah, we are in serious trouble and need to complete this mission.
Sin. Tharos. Is it Tharos?
It is, yes. Theros.
Tharos. Your warp sense does, of course, detect the quivering shiver of the immaterial beneath reality, as it always does. But there is something else here, something twisted. It's almost like the warp itself is woven and mixed with almost like blind spots in the warp.
Can I use my psychic hood to try and nullify it?
Not here, no. This isn't something you would recognize. Whatever this isn't a warp effect.
I mean, the psychic hood
seems to be some sort of spatial distortion.
Mundane technology. Rather further than that, huh?
The names, by the way, guys. Oh, by the way, do you know how your fate points work?
No.
Right. A fate point can be burned to save your life. If you were going to be killed or in imminent danger of death, you can ask me for permission to burn a fate point. If I agree, you'll be saved by the plot, effectively.
How many fate points do you have, Hojo?
Not enough.
Because Havla and I both have the smallest amount of 3.
Yeah,
It's
same
actually
here.
really good. In Dark Heresy, that's like the highest you can roll.
In Deathwatch, it's the lowest one you can roll.
Yeah, it really is.
There you go.
So Theros starts to pick up pace. As we're constantly moving, I was assuming, as through that entire conversation. So Theros starts to pick up pace and then lets that pace grow into a hurried sort of motion, if you will, a more sprint, insinuating that the rest should pick up pace and follow as well.
Yeah. But I'll lead the way.
Good.
Also, just briefly, your fate points, you gain an equal number of fortune points. Just call them fate points for simplicity. Basically, you can spend those, don't burn them, You gain these per session, and I will hand them out for good role-play and similar. The reason I haven't handed any of them out yet is because you've still got a full load.
It's because we haven't roleplayed properly yet.
Full load.
You can spend them to
good.
re-roll your dice. So if you fail at a test, you can say, I'm spending a fate point up to your 3 to re-roll your roll, effectively.
It's like a stratagem from current 8th edition. A command point, rather.
Effectively, yeah, it's a command point. Command points, if you like.
Yeah.
Right.
So are we making any ground now that we're moving faster? Are we making any ground? Does it feel we're making any progress?
You re-enter you leave the transit tunnel and its blasphemies far behind, and you enter the ship proper. However, your hurried pace... The machinery here is thick. Just thinking about it. Okay. Auger, are you in the lead?
I'm not. I am in the back.
Havel's in the lead by me.
Who is in the lead? Havel. Fontis, can you give me an agility test?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
The biggest one.
I don't worry. My agility is 55.
I am.
And unaffected by your power armor as well, because you're in Astartes.
Yeah, I'm under. I'm good.
Okay. As you're transiting, you see the ship, the interior of the ship appears to have an ecosystem of its own, with parts of the ship interacting with other parts in the ship in the manner of an alien body. You see tentacles basically reaching in and piercing other parts of the machinery, transferring fluids and sparking arcs of electricity. You see the floating spores in the air being sucked in by what can only be described as maws and funneled into other steam-belching processes, which you just, if you're a tech priest, it's basically nightmare fuel, effectively. And you nearly fall prey to one of these processes as you transit past an unseen, what was once an old air vent in the floor. Your boot comes down heavily on the flesh metal coating it, and it awakens a process effectively. Your boot smashes through the grating, and a coil of cabling and living matter coils up around your greave. However, your reactions are swift, and your strength is vast. You're able to rip your leg free of the tentacle before it can gain a purchase, but it doesn't stop it. It continues to swing and grope wildly in the corridor, lashing with the force of a mechadendrite tentacle, scouring and sparking off the walls around it, effectively separating you from your battle brothers by a few feet.
Alright.
Whatever process has been awakened in this thing, it doesn't appear to be subsiding, almost like it's been denied something, and it's clawing and squirming wildly.
I'm gonna look around real quick, see if there's anything in the room that I can throw into its reach.
How thick is this tendril?
Do not cut that!
As thick around as a man's thigh.
Whatever has happened to this ship has turned it into some foul, corrupted Xenos machine.
We don't have time for this.
King, I'm gonna look about real quick for some to throw into it. I don't say that.
There is plenty of debris close to hand.
Alright, I'm gonna throw something large into the tentacle's grasp.
Call it a piece of rusted bulkhead. The rusted chunk of bulkhead slams into the tentacle, which immediately extrudes several smaller, stickier tentacles of circuitry. The whole writhing bunch wraps around this chunk of girder, and it disappears back down through the flooring. It does not re-emerge.
I make my way over it quite quick-like.
A little worrying, brother.
Which way from
Not
here?
leave so soon.
Which way from here, Tech Priest? Tech Marine.
This way, brothers, but be wary. hate to find out what's at the bottom of that pit.
Ah, I'm sure you could find something to throw at it and keep it occupied.
Incoming description, guys. Incidentally, thanks to your successful rolls, you've actually avoided several combats here. I'm not sure whether as players that you thought that was a good thing.
Fantasy Flight games, that's always a good thing.
Trying to move, man. Trying to move.
That's right.
Looking from Hojo's character, who I don't know the name of yet, to Fontis. There are signals that we need to move, and looking to Fontis for the direction. We don't have time to lose here.
You all give me willpower rolls at +30. It would have been +10, but thanks to the augury of the librarian, you gain a +20 to this.
Oh, I +30 onto mine. So I rolled 120.
Ah, you only fail on a 00 in that case.
When you say plus
roll
30,
lot.
well, should we have taken off 30 for that roll? When you say plus 30.
Add 30 to your attribute.
Oh, to the attribute. Okay. There we go. Yeah, well under.
Fontist, Radagast?
I failed. Right, because you gotta get under.
Wait, no, everyone, no, just roll it 1d100, and you need to get under your willpower plus 30 onto your willpower, not onto the roll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, take your willpower, add 30 to it, and that's your total that you have to roll under for this test. Basically, if something adds to an attribute, it's good. If it takes away from it, it's bad.
Okay, yeah. So I rolled under by a long way. Hojo did not.
I did not.
Have you rolled a 7? You rolled way under. So 2 under,
yeah.
And Hojo over.
I am fucked.
Hojo, or rather Radagast. Despite the hypnomimetic hardening which keeps you sane and functioning, you feel an increasing at the sight of these abstract. Well, you can't really perceive them. Thanks to your conditioning, it's almost like they're not there. However, there is a growing pressure in your sinal cavities, and a thick headache begins basically pulsing at the base of your skull. Gain 1 insanity point and 1 corruption point.
Alright.
Ironically, it's the Marines Malevolent.
And what do I get from these, where are they? Living circuitry that's crawling across the walls, that's threatening psychic integrity. What am I getting? What am I making from that? Is there anything I can pull from this?
When I say psychic integrity in that description, I was looking for another word and couldn't find it. Effectively,
psychological.
Yeah, it's your psychological integrity.
I get you.
Are you familiar with the term cognitohazard? Basically, it's just as it's effectively something that fucks with your mind by perceiving it. Because you're Space Marines, one of the biggest parts of Space Marine training is conditioning their minds. Militarum Tempestus, Imperial Guard, they would not have your degree of hardening. It is entirely possible that regular human troops exposed to this part of the ship as you gain closer and closer to the bridge would lose their minds.
Which way do we go from here, Tech Marine?
look about for the correct door and point the way.
Yeah, sorry, you don't have to keep saying that. It's proceeding is anticipated. Don't worry, I'm not saying
Yeah,
sorry. It's just if I'm being unclear, I apologise.
No, I know I don't have to keep saying that, but if he's gonna ask, then
I've got no idea where else to go with that though, so I was kind of just trying to...
Yeah, it's there is definitely the sense of urgency though. Next description incoming, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, well,
Time stretches on as the kill team forges their way through the ship, their passage ever lengthening, sometimes shortening, battling against fundamental forces itself. As the feeling at the back of your minds becomes apparent, space itself is twisted within the Hollow King. The tip of the iceberg, that which is seen on the surface is not that which is.
I can't even tell if we're getting any closer, brothers.
Continue forward anyway. I do not wish to remain here forever.
Can you all give me a stamina roll at plus 30 and another willpower roll at plus 30?
So stamina and willpower.
what do you test stamina against again? Is that toughness?
Sorry, yeah, it's toughness. Sorry, it's a common role-playing term. I get systems confused in that regard sometimes. I'm terribly sorry.
I got 1 over my toughness at plus 30. I rolled a 74 and my toughness plus 30 is 73, whereas my willpower roll, I got way below.
Good.
What are we rolling against?
Rolled fairly low actually for that.
First roll stamina, toughness, second roll willpower.
Toughness failed, willpower did not.
What's your toughness, Auger?
48.
Okay. And you got to roll 1 more Havel.
Willpower is 45.
You have to do a willpower check.
Yeah.
75 if you remember the plus 30 modifier.
I got 40. Yeah, I got 43 with 43 plus 30, but I rolled a 74. Sorry, I got
3.
I need 73, but I got 74. So Havel passed both. Hojo and I failed stamina, but passed.
My will is iron.
Okay, so just to recap, past stamina, all 3. Oh no, you failed, didn't you, Sim?
No, Hojo and I both failed that, whereas Havel passed it.
Okay, and willpower?
Everyone passed.
Right. Your minds remain impregnable against the blandishments of this, what could possibly be an infinite machine. However, your traversal and your battle against the elements, space itself twists within its confines. It takes its strain even upon your superhuman frames. You have endured forces which would have torn a human apart. Gain 1 for those who failed their stamina, gain 1 level of fatigue. And what that means is, until you've taken sufficient rest to shake off the fatigue, most of your tests are made with a -10 penalty.
-10. Fuck.
Most of our what will take a -10?
Oh, I should point out that since your arrival in the space hulk, you have not been able to contact the Angelus Tenebrae. Whether that's a feature of the ship's malfunctioning Geller field, or whether it's actually the spatial distortions basically screwing with your Vox comms.
Did they
to debate?
Did they know you were this out of shape when they took you onto the watch, Blood Angel?
Oh!
Ooh, snap!
Wanted. Throw blows. He cannot counter again.
Damn, he's gonna need aloe for that burn.
This Hulk is crushing.
Crushing you, maybe. Ah.
It's crushing you too, Malevolent.
Yeah. Rest your head on my thigh. Weakly.
It's crushing you too, Hojo. Fuck your noise.
The pain
Laughing
is
at
normal.
both of them.
As this robot laughs in the corner.
Time stretches on. It almost feels like you've spent a full solar day fighting your way through this machine nightmare. Thanks to your mimetic conditioning, you will not remember much of this after the action, but to be here in the present time, even for Astartes, is almost unendurable. However, eventually,
since Fontes is still in the lead, he sees this first, no?
it does indeed, although you can all enter this cathedral-like gallery at the same time. Here as well, stood silently, sometimes twitching, other times, well, perhaps the human mind cannot comprehend what they're doing. You see some of the shapes that you have seen through this Hulk.
How many?
Maybe 24 stood throughout the entire space. They look basically like an aberration's idea of what a human might look like. It was formed from molten wax and twisted wire. They have no fingers, no toes. They're just shapes, almost like they're crafted from melted clay. Some are maybe 3-4 feet tall, others stand as tall as an Astartes or taller, great gangling things. None of them have heads per se, rather a dangling sack of flesh which hangs off the neck, almost like a distended tumour, effectively. Some of them shiver, and the shivering is far too fast, almost like they're moving out of phase with the space around them. Others skitter like spiders or shuffle, many of them trailing the same cables that you've seen, crawling into ductwork, participating in the debased ecosystem of this thing. However, once you enter this cathedral, many of them stop and turn. And they have no eyes or other features, no ears, no nose, no mouth, no nothing. But they turn towards you nevertheless. They don't approach, but they appear to. They have the aspect of mannequins staring.
Saros lifts his bolter.
They can move, they can stop, they can fall, they can die. Lifts Bolter as well.
One of them begins shuffling towards you. Again, moving almost too fast for its surroundings. It's almost like a video that's been sped up.
Well, I open fire with flaming rounds.
Very well. Let's take this to initiative, brothers.
How do you roll initiative in this?
Take the first number of your agility. So what's your agility, Fontes? It's 55, isn't it?
Yep.
So the first number is a 5. What's Radagast's agility, Hoja?
43, so 4.
So 4. And Theros?
55, so 5.
5. Roll 1d10 and add that number to the roll. I have rolled, and can somebody note that I have 7 for this horde?
14.
I rolled a 2. Well, I've got. You said I've got to add how much to the roll?
Your agility bonus.
So I rolled at 50. Sorry, I've rolled the 5.
You
okay.
rolled a 7.
I rolled a 7. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Radagast,
Yeah.
what's your roll?
I don't understand.
Have you?
Yeah, I rolled an 8.
Okay, so 8 total.
I don't see your 8. Oh yeah, I do. No, you rolled a D100 and got a 3.
Yeah, plus 5. What am I supposed to roll?
Roll a
You
D10.
did,
You
you
rolled a
did.
D100 and rolled a 3.
Oh my god, you wasted that roll.
Damn.
Don't roll the luck out, man.
You've rolled a 1 and a 3 tonight.
The reason that D10 didn't show up for me when I just rolled it now.
Yeah, so we all passed that. Oh, I got 7. Hojo got
14.
How much?
14.
14.
Nice.
And Havel just done it. He got a 4, so he got a 9. 7, 9, 14. What does that mean?
That is the initiative order.
I imagine I attack first.
Yep, it basically goes in descending order. And this is what's called a horde battle. So although there are many of these things, they all count as one enemy. And basically, the more damage you do to it, the more dice cinematically. But it's effectively one enemy with many health levels, each health level being one of those entities. If you follow. It's the way that Deathwatch handles big battles without having to roll out combat against every enemy individually.
Like it.
Alright. I am already preloaded with Metal Storm since the last encounter.
Your effective range here is short. They are perhaps, depending on the speed they're moving, it could be 1 round before they're into hand-to-hand combat, depending on what I roll. As I said, they're not moving in time with the rest of this space, if you will. So, they are, for now, they are 2 rounds away from hand-to-hand combat and within short range of your weaponry. Radagast, you're up. Describe or type out your attack.
I wish to attack the area in front of them, or the area before us.
Using your Metal Storm rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're basically attempting to deny them approach.
Yes, as it is fragmentation.
Very well. Make me. Are you firing on semi-auto, full auto, or single shot? As this is your first game, we'll go through this technical bit here. So basically, are you firing? What I believe in the start, this bolter has a single 2-4 as its fire rate.
Mm-hmm.
How many rounds are you firing?
I assume 2 at the most if I can. I don't think I could do more than that. Pretty sure I'm gonna be stuck with the 1 shot, as described earlier.
Well, each combat round is several seconds long, so it can basically encompass like, full actions, full open fire, whichever way, any action at your disposal, effectively.
I'm not too afraid. So just double shot.
Okay, so that's right. Can you give me a ballistic skill test, please?
Alright. I believe that's also a D100. God damn. My ballistic skill is 52. And I rolled a
That's
90.
really good. You rolled a 9. 90.
Yeah.
Ah, right, okay. Do you wish to re-roll? You may spend 1, call it a command point, or a fate point if you will, and re-roll your attack.
Yeah, what the hell, why not? I'm not ready to die immediately. Okay. I'm ready to die.
You rolled an 81.
Rolled an 81. Okay. The thump and crack of bolter fire fills the air as Radagast opens fire with metal storm rounds. The exploding shells shred the biomass around you, sending crackling arcs of electricity and sparks and spurts of what could be blood and sweat, basically spraying everywhere. However, it doesn't appear to slow the advance of these horrors. Who's next in the initiative order? Fontis.
Yeah.
Your action.
I'm gonna open fire with my full auto.
Okay. Full auto, I believe, is... Cheat sheet, is it? Bonus. Ah, here we go. Right, add +20 to your ranged attack and roll your ballistic skill.
Oh no.
What's
I got a
your-
63, and my ballistic skill is 30, so 50.
Ooh, do you want
13
to
over. Sure. 26. Good.
So you guys have both burnt a fate point already.
Yeah, we don't have much further to go, man. You don't know. This might be important.
Right, you rolled 26 on a skill of 50, 36, 46, that's 3 hits. So that's 3 degrees success. Can you roll the damage for a single shot, please?
Yep. One damage is a bolter. 2d10 plus 5.
What rounds are you using? Standard.
The Hellfire rounds that we got. They have their own profile, I'm assuming.
They critical on a 9 or 10, and they ignore toughness bonus and natural armor. Oh no, so they just ignore natural armor.
So what Ds will you be rolling?
A 2d10. So
It's 1d8. The errata is it's 1d10 plus 8. Penetration 4, I think it is. However, it has something called the tearing quality, which means you roll 2d10 and you take the highest.
I thought I was rolling damage for the gun.
Yeah, the old damage is a lot higher than the errata damage. Basically, it was realized that the Astartes bolter was too high.
Okay, so what's my damage profile now then? 1d10?
1d10 plus 8, however, it's tearing, so you roll 2d10 and pick the highest. And if you get a 9 or 10, this shit gets real.
Right. So I'll roll 2d10, I'll pick the highest and apply the 8 to that.
Yeah. So was that 5 plus 8? 13?
Yeah.
Okay, and you roll, that's enough to kill one of them, and because you roll 3 degrees of success, that's 3 dead. I believe it's +1 for just being an Astartes is +1 to horde damage. So you open up with your Hellfire rounds, Fontis. The acid-filled munitions punch through the sacks of flesh like, well, literally like a hot knife through butter. As they penetrate the mass, they detonate inside with sharp percussions, sending mutagenic acid slicing through the innards. These things literally burst like balloons filled with foulness. Each pinpoint shot, the thump and crack of the bolter, heralds another one dead. You have thinned the horde, brother.
How many did he take?
Killed 4.
3 left.
Theros.
I'm gonna go in melee. Theralis clutches at his bolt pistol, letting his bolter fall onto its strap. Grasps at his force sword and charges him. Now I do have a... let's see... something chapter related for this. Blood Frenzy. But I cannot exactly remember what Blood Frenzy does because I took a note of the name but didn't take a note of the stat one second.
It's quite right, man.
Do you have a note of the stats for Blood Frenzy, Hell? Considering you have the same one?
Have them written on my sheet, hold on.
As this is your first combat, guys, I'm sorry this is a bit stuttering.
No, this is perfect.
Is everything alright so far, by the way? This isn't too...
No, I think we managed to skip a lot by powering ahead.
Your rolls were pretty damn incredible, man. The Inquisition would call this a high-speed, high-success mission.
Whoa, we haven't even gone past the first horde, so let's not get ahead of ourselves there. Here we go, Blood Frenzy. Let's see. So I'll just read it out. So Blood Angels possess a savagery in combat that has its roots deep in the history of their chapter. It is, however, a trait that can serve them well in close quarters. Blah, blah, blah. Once per combat, a Battle Brother of the Blood Angels chapter may summon up a Blood Frenzy. While under the effects of this ability, the Battle Brother may re-roll damage dice with melee weapons. In the case of melee weapons that inflict multiple dice of damage, all dice or none must be re-rolled. In addition to this is the brutality of his attacks, that he scores Righteous Fury on page 245 when a dice result of 9 or 10 rather than just the 10.
Guys, that's Hoja's helpfully posted up the quick Watson links for actions. So, surrounded by a hail of bolter fire from your fellow battle brothers, Theros draws his sword and charges, his boots pounding on the decking.
Can I take one shot with the bolt pistol as I do that?
Mm-hmm.
So I take a single hellfire round as I move into combat.
Right on.
What should I be rolling on?
Ballistic skill.
1d10. I rolled a 9. And my ballistic.
Wow, okay.
Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm rolling out a d100 or a d10.
D100.
I rolled a d10. I'll re-roll that real quick. D100, I rolled 80. Yeah, my ballistic skill is like 33, so I didn't get that one at all.
You crack off several shots as you charge, but it's your sword which thirsts for the blood of the enemy. Make your melee attack.
Now, do I have to do this a force roll?
No, that happens when you hit.
Okay,
so now you need to roll your weapon skill.
I'm gonna get a water quick while he's rolling these out.
So I rolled a 29, my weapon skill is 60.
Right, roll your damage. I don't think you're going to need to draw on the warp for this one.
So the Force Sword is 1d10 plus 2, then X for the Force Sword.
Okay, at the moment it's 1d10 plus 5, pen 3, because of your psychic rating, and add your strength to that. So your strength double, it's your strength, and you've got a natural strength times 2, yeah? What's your strength?
My strength is 40.
So double that, so basically take the first number and you double it for being in a starties, that's 8. So that's d10 plus 13.
So I rolled a 4. So that's
17 pen 3, and then you add 2 for your armors plus 20% bonus as well. So
19.
19, yeah. And you've killed 20, 30, 40, 50. Right. As the bolter shells explode and ricochet around you from your brother's pinpoint precise fire, Theros' size sword cuts a bloody swath through these aberrant machines, and every slice a sack of fluid and machinery. They make no sound as you cut them down. There is no satisfaction in the death of the alien here, but their fluids spray just as readily as the blood of every foe you've ever felt. And within a blink of an eye, too fast to follow for a mortal, you carve these hideous things down to the last.
Keep up, Marine Malevolent. Tech Marine, take us through this door. Theros signals towards the door of the command chamber. Things are starting to look a little bit more familiar now with his previous premonition.
You recognise this. What wasn't in your vision that has begun to appear? Sorry, I should have mentioned this. Perhaps it's only obvious now. There are structures beginning to grow on your armour. The machinery of this place is trying to make your armour part of itself. Your ceramite is proof against the spores, but thin tracings of alien circuitry have interlaced themselves to the top molecular layer of your aegis. And you can see the budding starts of spore-emitting structures beginning to grow on your sacred battle plate.
Can we run our armor hot or anything like that?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Alright, I run my armor hot. I signal towards there too. I scrape my sword across my greave, so I get a few of the fragments on my sword edge and hold it up, assuming that they can see it from where they are with their increased vision.
The structures sizzle and burn on the aura around your force sword, but they're quite clearly visible. This place is attempting to assimilate you. It's not succeeding, but it's not stopping it from trying. And it is very likely that rituals of purification and cleansing by acid, flame, and biological agent will need to be applied to your armour to make it fit once again for duty once this operation is complete.
The Emperor protects, but so does the armour. Run it hot, boys.
Do not worry too much, Librarian. My chapter is familiar with this kind of thing. It will go away once we are dead.
I don't plan on letting it get that far.
Well, what are you doing in the Deathwatch, Librarian?
I didn't ask to be here.
Well, hurry up and make sure you leave.
I'll just clean my armor. Oh, these two bicker like women.
I'm standing by the door by the command bridge, waiting for yourself.
As your armor runs hot, streamers of steam begin to vent from the basically they look like not small, the balls on either side of the backpack.
Yeah.
The what?
The Space Marine's backpack on the top.
The two vents.
There are two vents. That's actually heat. That's actually heat venting, and basically vapor begins to vent from those as you instruct your armor's war spirits to run hot. Now, in our parlance, that's basically instructing the armor to disengage its cooling safeties temporarily in order to raise the temperature of the armor. But
On the outside, right?
Well, to an inhabitant of 40k, to whom machinery is an inexplicable and religious thing, it's also communing with your spirit, the spirit of your armor, because it does actually have its own basics. Basically, it has its own basic SI, satisfactory intelligence. In fact, I think power armor has more than one. I think there's one for the power plant, one for the targeting system. So yeah, there's a lot to commune with. The tech priest would know the details, but those are secret. Are you back, Havel?
Yeah, I'm here.
You wade through the remains of these things. The unclean fluids basically drip and run off your armor as you approach the great Oculus portal to the bridge. Next paragraph.
I pinned that quick reference for the actions.
This one.
Alright. There's plenty more. I'll start throwing down useful information after this. Hopefully we can get all of it down. That'd be real handy, actually.
Maybe glad to know that that was the last that I had written out. Basically, I forgot I had friends coming round tonight, so I had to truncate shortly. But that is the last you'll have to endure reading.
Oh, what the fuck?
You okay, Hoja?
Reading this and then started to remember that this is terrifying. It's like we're right on the event horizon, goddamn.
I like it.
I knew that was a 40k movie, no one believed me.
Oh no, it is very 40k.
It's basically the warp
Yeah, effectively.
engine that they use in the 40k.
This vile thing reaches for you. Each tentacle snaking and whipping like some sort of Deathworld abomination. Everybody roll initiative. This is not a horde fight. This is something akin to a boss fight.
Wait, so we're rolling a d100.
And it's a d10 plus your agility bonus.
I got 11.
11.
Eight. 13.
So Fontis.
Oh, no, you got a 2 plus 6. Okay, I see.
I got a 6 because I got my agility and my power armor. It's history. It's +1 to agility. I forgot that.
Okay.
Okay, so Fontis, what's your total?
8.
8.
Well, that's just without it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's with it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you see there the dice roll was 2. We had a +6 added onto it.
Okay, that makes sense.
You can if you go up to the top of the dice roller, you can actually modify the advanced roller. You can put how many. Put all that stuff in.
I got you, Chief. I just didn't think to do it like that. So Havel's got 8, me and Saint have 11.
Yep.
The way to break the tie between you two, Theros and Radagast, is Theros has a higher agility bonus. He has a 5, Radagast has a 4, so the highest one basically takes priority.
What planet are we trying to save again? Which sector?
Vespasia. If you look on the Jericho sector map, it's towards the upper left.
Oh, I just realized from my power armor history I get an extra +10 bonus to strength.
Ooh, you might want to note that.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, time to pin something else. We're gonna fucking do this a lot.
Right, so with the highest initiative, I grasp at my bolter, so attaching my bolt pistol back to my waist. Let cry, force sanguinius, and take shot with my full auto hellfire rounds.
Make that roll. This thing is so large, by the way, that it provides a +20 to hit with your ballistic skill. Can't even read that. Oh, it's the power armor.
Right, so I'm rolling d10 plus. No. What am I rolling?
It's 1d100. You're rolling full auto, so you add +20 for its size, +20 for the full auto, so it's +40. Wow. And
so I rolled a 49, and my ballistic skill is 33.
So 49, 33, but it's 73 because of all your bonuses.
Yeah, so I definitely hit that.
So 70 to so 49, 59, 69. Right. You've hit it with 2 hellfire rounds. Can you please roll damage twice? Oh no, you have 3 Hellfire rounds. Roll damage 3 times.
D10.
2d10 plus 8.
Well, I rolled 2d10, I got a 7 and a 2, so plus 8 is...
So it's 15. You take the highest of the 2, it's the
okay,
tear.
so 15.
So 15 pen 4, I believe. Ignores natural armor. Very good, that's the first hit. Second hit?
2 9s, so yeah, I got 9.
That's a critical. That's a critical hit with
My second round.
Yeah, that's actually a critical hit with a Hellfire round. Can you roll your ballistic skill again, please? This is a critical hit, guys, and has the potential to cause massive damage.
I just rolled a 19 and my ballistic skill is 33.
That's a success. Can you please add another d10 of damage?
Roll a 10. Roll a 10.
I rolled a 3.
Damn it.
I rolled a 3.
Okay, so...
So I rolled... the first one was a 7, a 9 and a 3, but plus 8, did you say?
Yep, so that's total is 20. I've got to keep track of this. This thing is tough. Okay, third shot.
I thought that was my third shot there.
That was your second shot, I believe.
Okay. Roll a... I rolled a 5 and a 7, so it's a 7.
7 plus 8 is 15 pen 4 again.
Getting some high roll.
Your bolter blazes in your hand with recoil which would shatter a human arm, spitting its deadly payload of mutagenic acid into the thrashing mass of this squid-like horror. The acid immediately begins to eat into its mechanical innards, great gouts of steam boiling from it. It makes no sound except fizzling and crackling as power conduits within it are severed. Who's next in the initiative order? Radagast.
Oh boy. How far away is it from us?
It will be a melee combat next round.
God damn. Well, gotta go full auto.
Okay, again, same plus 40 bonus applies. What's your ballistic skill?
53.
So 93. Okay, wow.
52, excuse me.
Let's not quibble over that 1%. Roll your skill, man.
What was it? D100? 43.
43, okay. All 4 shots hit. This is 1 hit for every degree of success. So 43, 53, 63, 73. You can't hit with more shots than you fire, so you hit with all 4. Still incredibly painful. Can you please roll your damage, man?
I did not remember to switch out of Metal Storm, so bear with me.
No, you actually have a fire selector. You can switch your ammunition type for free at the start of the round. And to be honest, you can also say, just for ease, if you wish to change your magazine after the fight with the Horde, you can retcon that if you wish.
What the hell, why not? Regular bolts around. Be more beneficial right here.
Okay, standard bolt rounds.
4 shots, 2d10 plus 5.
The time you hit something to level up.
So, 2d10
My
plus
nuts.
8, and you take the highest of the 2d10s. I take it you bellowing these brotherly insults over the roar of the bolters.
These nuts, cocksucker! That was me. On my character.
So let's see, Hojo got... Is he taking the best of his 2 rolls, I take it?
Yeah, it's 2d10 plus 8, but you take the highest of the 2d10 rolls.
Ah,
Plus 8
nice.
Plus 5.
Yeah, so his first roll was a 10 plus 8.
Oh, check your ballistic skill again, man.
Right. I wrote down plus 5. I don't know where y'all getting plus 8.
Yeah,
And you're rolling 2d10 for damage. When we changed
Oh,
the
I
damage.
see.
Bolters.
Individual d10.
You're using the errata bolters.
Yeah, we have a different damage model.
He was rolling 2 D10s and
Oh, he's just gonna pick the. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm gonna shut my mouth. So he got a 10, and the next one is a 10.
Holy fuck! Yeah, he got a 10.
2 10s in a row.
You got a 10, a 10, a 5, and then a 9.
Holy shit. Okay, so 18, 18,
A 5,
18, 18, 13, 17.
17.
Ow, that's hurt. Right, can you roll your ballistic skill twice more, Auger? Unmodified ballistic skill, so 52. Roll it twice, and roll well.
The 2 D100s?
Yeah, 2 D100 rolls, if you would, please.
First one was 73, second one was 24.
Okay, one of those 10s has gained the Emperor's Fury. It's gone critical. Roll another D10 and add it to the damage inflicted.
Rolling
8.
8. Okay, so that's not 18, that's 26. Right. More bolt rounds tear into the blasphemy. Unlike the mutagenic rounds, standard bolt rounds explode inside the target. Rippling explosions stitch it, actually severing one of the tentacles, which falls to the floor and immediately begins to basically rot away, revealing the flesh metal beneath. The eyes in the center of the mass explode, bursting outwards, causing more circuitry to spill forth. More circuitry boils in to take the place of the damaged components, but it is obvious that serious damage has been dealt to this horror. The Hell Node, even though it is damaged, it is still capable of lashing out with its pseudopods, and it does so.
Is this before? Oh wait, sure. Who is Havel not fired yet?
I haven't gone yet. No.
Havel's
Havel goes
initiative.
after it. Its tentacles squirm through the storm of fire, partially regenerating even as they're blown apart by the Deathwatch Marines. And they reach for you with astonishing speed for the size, like a striking squid. Right. Actually, let's do this publicly. Can somebody roll me 3 D100 rolls, please?
Oh shit.
1, 2, 3. You got 79, 61, 75.
Holy crap, they all missed.
Wow.
For description, I'm not picturing the Marines remaining still while these things are slamming down and squirming around them. But however you want to imagine it, somehow you evade the grasp of the machine. Wow.
Things fumbling around in front of us. Saints right in front of us, and me and Fontus are way back.
I mean, for fuck's sake, at a scale of 65. Ouch.
Yeah, so it's a 79, a 61, and a 75.
Yeah. It may be a case that it's missing. It could be that as a tentacle wraps around you, you blow it off with your bolter. Feel free to add some descriptions of how you're dealing with the tentacles if you wish. This is what shared role-playing is all about. However, what this does mean is that you are undamaged and unaffected as it rolls around to Fontus's turn.
Theros kind of lunges to the sort of diagonally towards, moving to the side, to make sure he keeps a clean shot while opening up the line and making sure his brothers have a clean shot. Doing so is dodging the attack.
Radagast does not move as the tentacles flail around, fucking around and playing with the librarian.
Is he literally just blowing them apart with pinpoint shots?
No.
They come at him, yeah, that's what I think he has to be doing.
That's not what's happening.
Alright.
Fucking around playing with the Saint.
Just gonna slap the tentacles aside with my Mechadrites.
That works.
That works.
Rip off a piece that's dangling off from one of the other bolter rounds as it comes at me.
Yeah, the all these descriptions are perfect for a game like this. This is basically how it creates the scene in the mind of the players. If you're familiar with roleplay, you'll know about all this, but this is for Hoja's benefit as well.
And
I'm here.
And Sins. Right. Fontis, your go as you tear off another chunk of tentacle with your mechadendrite. Watch your action.
So the tentacles all came out of like a singular mass, right? The way you described it.
Basically, it's basically a biomechanical sea anemone.
I'm gonna throw a crack grenade at the base of the mass where it came out, where everything came out of.
Nice. Where it extrudes from the ceiling.
Right, but I have no idea what to roll that on. Would that be on?
It's a ballistic skill test.
And does that take a full action, or does that just take a half action?
To throw the grenade.
Yeah.
Half action to draw it from the dispenser, half action to throw it. It's exactly the same as making a shot with your bolter.
Okay.
However, it has much higher armor penetrating abilities, I believe.
I'm good. Wait, no. Hold on.
Remember, you're adding you're not firing full auto, but this thing is still plus 20 to hit. So what's your ballistic skill?
I'm over by 14.
What's your ballistic skill?
30.
So
You rolled a 64.
Do you want to re-roll?
Yeah, I'll burn another fate point.
How many have you got left? Just one?
That means I have one left after this.
Yeah.
There we go. 25.
Yeah, I do.
That's a hit. That gets the crack grenade right into the base of this thing. Roll your damage.
What's the profile on a crack grenade? I don't have it off
There you go.
my head. Yeah, thank you, Hojo. I knew you'd have it.
I'm a fucking wizard.
It is 3d10 plus 4. 6 pen.
That's really horrific. Okay, roll your damage.
What?
Rolled a 2, a 5, and a 3 with a plus 4 to give him 14.
Yep.
That's
It was
still not bad.
6 pen.
So what's your total damage?
14, it says.
14 with pen 6. Oh, just short. Right. The grenade sails through the air and impacts into the base with the force of, well, a stone from a sling as it's propelled by Astarte's muscle and power armor. It sinks into the mass, and the machine actually tries to absorb the grenade, and then it detonates. It blows a good half of the chunk of this thing clear of where it's extruded from the ceiling, and it flops. It literally flops, tons of metal and flesh, half collapsing from the ceiling. It's barely holding on by a thread. Its mechanical tentacles now writhing in a manner akin to a malfunction, rather than any particular directed attack. Thrashing and crashing like a sea monster beached. Unbelievably, it's still functional and tearing up everything around itself, but it is clear that it has sustained critical damage. Right, back round to Theros. We keep the same initiative.
So this thing is close to going down, right?
It really is. It really, really is.
Smite it.
Alright, so
Smite it.
I want to do something a bit corny. I don't have smite.
Fucker.
I've got short range telepathy, iron arm, and augury. I don't want to use iron arm because, well, I could use iron arm because it would take a half action. I've got warp sense instead of a full action. Could I use short range telepathy and then melee attack it?
You want a glimpse into what remains of this thing's mind?
Brother,
I want to.
you have gone mad first.
I want to I want to, like, I don't have to word it. I'm not going to say something in words per se, it's going to be more in imagery and emotion to convey the feeling of the Emperor's wrath.
Oh, I got you. Let me find my Necronomicon.
Basically, you wish to fill it with the hatred of the Emperor.
Well, yeah, so it knows why we're destroying it. And I want to be able to attack it.
For this case, that's simply a story point. That will not require a roll.
Excellent. So I charge at it with my force sword. I want to roll for force to make sure I get the insta kill. Is that how it works?
Roll to hit it. If you hit it, you make a psi test.
Okay, so to roll to hit it, I'm rolling a d100, right?
Plus 20 for its size, and if you're doing a charge, it's plus 10.
I rolled a d100. Oh my god, no.
What'd you roll?
I'm gonna use a fate point. I rolled a...
What did you roll?
I rolled a 99.
Oh my god.
I'm re-rolling.
Are you sure you want to re-roll it? I can have a lot of fun with that.
No, I'm re-rolling it. I'm using one of my... Nice, there we go. I'm using one of my fate points, my 3 fate points. I've only used one so far, I've been trying not to, but I re-rolled it and got a 16.
That's better. Okay. You plunge the 7-foot length of your psi sword deep within the quivering mass of the machine. Right, make a willpower test.
I rolled a 22 of a d100.
That's a pass. Right, okay.
My willpower is 45.
That's a success. Right. Roll the damage for your sword.
So that's 1d10, if I'm not mistaken.
1d10 plus, let's see, 3 for your armor, 8 for your strength, so it's 11.
And then plus 5 for the sword.
And then, yeah, plus 5 for the sword.
So 16.
1d10 plus 16.
I got a 20 total.
20 total, okay. One second.
Do I roll for a force at all?
You do. You passed, didn't you? Right.
Oh, that was the second roll. Okay, I get you.
No, you passed the second roll. Roll 3d10 extra damage.
So I'm rolling 3d10 total.
Total, yeah.
15 total, 636.
636, add that to your damage, that's 35 damage.
Ooh.
You plunge the psi sword into the quivering mass of the horror, ignoring its thrashing. Machine tentacles slamming off your arm with force enough to shatter a human skeleton. You stand firm, and your will surges through the hilt of your psi blade as you channel raw energy of the warp and your fury into its mass. The blinding flash of light briefly overloads the auto sensors of both your brothers, as it literally ignites the horror from within with raging soul fire, and it bursts into flame. The last strands of its machinery melt, and it slips and slides from the ceiling to collapse in a quivering heap as the psychic energy boils through its mass and earths in arcing blasts of warp lightning into the decking around it. It is more than dead. Its very internals have been obliviated.
By the grace of Sanguinius, suffer, mutant.
Your way to the bridge is unimpeded.
We're still not there? Oh god.
I go
No,
to
the door is by that I mean the door is in front of you. You can go through it.
The way is clear, brother.
Let us hurry.
Are you seizing one? You're seizing one of the tentacles, Radagast.
I sure am.
It's basically wet flesh, and with that strange metallic sheen, almost in segments, and it still twitches and clicks in your grasp as you rip it off.
That is unclean, brother.
As are we all right now.
That will end worlds. We must leave it here. It must burn with the rest of it.
Claim your armor will be any different?
Our armor will be free of this place. We can't bring
this tentacle.
We can't bring this place with us.
Part of the mission to destroy all that is on this ship. Any Xenos.
You cannot take any trophies this time.
Blast.
There'll be plenty more. Thoros hurries through.
Do not promise me with lies.
Remember the briefing. If any of this escapes and gets on any other ship or any planet, it will completely consume it, as it did the insides of this ship.
Well, that is perhaps not a lie.
The tentacle clatters back to the decking, where it continues to squirm. As you watch, it attempts to extrude more of its matter to form an almost spider-like shape, but it has been burned by the librarian's will, and slowly its motion ceases.
What do we see in that next coming room?
Are you entering you're entering the Oculus, I take it?
I am,
Yeah.
I'm pushing on ahead.
The great bronze iris valve of the command deck slides open as you approach. However, it is gummed with biomatter, literally strands like sticky mucus between the... Have you ever seen an iris valve open?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It holds shut. However, you have a breaching auger, and basically the tools on the mechadendrite of the Tech Marine are sufficient to rip open the Oculus. Do you wish to do so, Havel?
Yep.
Yeah. With powered adamantine and a grasping claw, you tear your way onto the bridge. This was once the nerve center of the Hollow King. A great raised platform of what was once Baroque detail, with a vast pod connected to every part of the ship's systems, a sensorium for the captain to reside within, almost in amniotic isolation, stretching before the platform like the gap, almost like the nave of a cathedral. A serried ranks, running rather than rows like pews, running what along would have been the walls. Vast banks of cogitators that were once attended to by the crew. Now, all that stretches from the base of the platform out into the darkness of this tainted cathedral is a mass of red webbing, literally unclean, pallid. The innards of the crew stretching like a stringy sea into the darkness. To override the Pallid King's warp core protocols, you must enter the command pod of the captain, almost like what was once a huge metallic egg upon the platform, and now is very much a part of the mass of the rest of the ship.
Is there a center core to this thing?
It's
connected
the
to
metallic
everything?
egg.
Yeah. Or is it just spread out into the webbing?
You mean the pod's cabling?
Yeah. Is it connected at a central point?
Yeah, it's basically it's actually from one of the novels. The captain, while inside, the captain would be plugged into the ship, acting almost like a command node.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you know the protocols to open that massively reinforced adamant chamber. However, this thing is quite clearly connected to the rest of the ship, so the Emperor knows what response it will give once you open it.
Tech Marine, will you be best inside, or would you be best outside?
The Tech Marine actually bears on his back a servitor that will require access to the interior of the pod to override the ship's security protocols.
Whatever is connected to the inside of that pod, get ready to burn it like you did the last creature.
How do we know that the creatures will not attack from behind?
Oh, well, you could face the door while we take care of this business.
The advanced Deathwatch training technique of turning 180 degrees.
Theris's eyes narrow and he looks towards the pod. Can I roll Augury again? See if I fail it or get it. The MPS. So it would be a roll of a D100.
It's willpower, yeah.
I rolled a 16.
You examine the interior of the pod, basically, for guidance, and you see what was once the captain in the immediate future through all the strands of the warp where fate can lead. You see the pod open and what was once the captain lunge out like a great, basically almost like a tumorous teardrop in a smashing blow against the first person to open the pod. An attempt to consume them.
Alright, time to roll initiatives.
This is one potential future. You are now forewarned. Fate is no longer certain.
Opening his eyes, Theros looks to the other two Deathwatch. The captain awaits for us in there.
Alright!
He can't still be human.
The captain has long since been human.
Nothing was ever human in here.
Can I cast Iron Arm with my free arm? So I take my Force Sword in my right hand, and instead of taking my bolt pistol on my left hand, can I cast Iron Arm on my left hand?
Can you drive your sword through the pod?
So saying this, I've got Sinus Sign, so that means that my Augury would be a half action, and then this would be my other half action. It means I've used all my actions up.
At this point, because we're not in immediate combat, this can be described as dramatic time. We don't need to break it down into combat rounds because simply we've been done through dramatic descriptions.
Okay. Iron Arm is continual until it's deactivated though, so I won't be able to use that arm for my bolt pistol or anything while I've got a cast.
Right.
So I roll on willpower?
So, yep.
I rolled a 76, and my willpower is 45 with a boost of something. That one's 20% bonus to test involving stamina or willpower, because of my first augury. And my psychic hood gives me a +5 bonus to all focus power tests. Oh, that's focus, never mind. So I got a +20% bonus to test, but other than that, I rolled a 76, and my willpower is 45.
Just short. It could be because the spatial distortions of this place are interfering with your connection to the warp. Because as the Imperium knows, and as dark technology best forgotten from the days when the Imperium was young often delved, the warp is not the only membrane of reality which intrudes upon real space.
What's the whole perils thing? How do I know if I'm rolling perils?
Basically, when you make your power roll, if you come up a I think it's a 99, then yeah, shit gets real.
Okay, I'm pretty sure there's like a power rating I can use as well. I can choose to be either
fettered.
Yeah, I will always be rolling the safe roll unless I say otherwise. Just so you know.
The sensible roll that psychers that wish to live to any kind of old age choose.
I will never use the unfettered unless shit's going down.
Yeah.
Alright,
I'll say for ease actually, given the circumstances that you may activate Iron Arm successfully here. You're not under pressure, effectively.
Oh, wait a minute, the focus power test is a willpower test. Let's see, so, and I get a +5 bonus to focus power test because of my psychic hood. And then plus 20% bonus to test involving stamina or willpower, so would I have passed that?
Sure, I believe.
Okay, fair enough.
What does the kill team plan to do with the pod?
Let's blow it up.
It's the sensorium, effectively.
I need access to the internal workings of the pod. I don't need.
So we can't blow it up.
No.
Let's reconsider blowing it up.
Yeah, I still don't know what's in the inside of it.
So to clarify the scene, Havel, you know the protocols to get that adamant sarcophagus open. However, the librarian has foreseen the danger that awaits inside. That's basically where you are.
So
In my
when
vision,
we open that up,
I was going to say, in my vision, how was it opened?
Just the same way the pod is opened as it's designed to. Effectively hinged, and it slides open.
As in, did it come out of its own accord, or did Havel open it in my vision?
Havel opened it.
Okay.
However, since you are forewarned of what the mass inside the pod is likely to do, you are effectively prepared for it. Sometimes in role-playing games it gets to the point where players basically are afraid of what the GM will do, like the GM's going to try and fuck them over. I'm not that kind of GM.
We don't mind getting fucked over. Theros walks in front of the iris and takes out a low crouch position. So still standing, just low crouch forward, with his blade held back, ready to thrust in.
Righto.
Malevolent, you should prepare to do the same.
I'm ready far back, dude. I was far back a while ago.
he's got his back in the corner with a 90 to the door.
Fontes,
Kill position.
it's on you.
Okay. I'm going to go over and prepare, but I'm going to have the drill Mechandrite in front of me, ready to go. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to use a stance as soon as combat starts. Can I have the stance prepared before combat starts, or do I have to wait for combat to start?
You can prepare yourself for trouble effectively.
I'm going to use my defensive stance, Flesh is a Feast.
Righto.
And if it comes to it, we'll go into that. And I'm going to start activating and opening the sarcophagus.
Identifying the parts of the captain's sarcophagus, I should point out this thing itself is almost the size of a small building. Sorry, just for clarity. This is where the nerve center of the ship would have existed. The captain is a kernel of humanity connected to the ship on an intimate level through basically an oversized mind impulse unit. Your interface cables snake out and make contact with machinery which still exists beneath the massive invasive flesh metal. And you send the open command. There is a breathless moment where you wonder whether the machine spirit is even still sane enough to recognize the override command granted to you, basically as an agent of the Deathwatch. But after a moment, the metal tortuously begins to open. With a wet slabbering noise, the mass inside the pod, which was once the captain and now is not at all anything resembling a human being, basically leaves the sarcophagus in search of this is it an intruder, or is it part of the ecosystem of the ship that it's simply responding to? But instead of the crushing blow, which would have pulverized your armor and breached into the atmosphere of the ship, thanks to the librarian's warning, you are forewarned as this thing leaves, and well placed to deliver a killing blow between you. What do you do?
Looks fit.
Two mean Saint both attack at the same time.
Well, I'm ready to go, so I'm going to. The second it gets out, I'm thrusting.
Yeah, I'm gonna drive the Mechandrite. I'm gonna drive the drill into it.
What's your fire malevolent?
No.
Bolt of
Simple
Laws, Psy-Sword flashes, an adamant drill and hydraulic claw tear and rip, and you tear the mass of the former captain from its cocoon. The wet lump is nothing more than... it's a tumor, effectively, full of alien circuitry. If this was once a man, it is impossible to tell. However, with it torn free of its cocoon, you are able to pull more of the slimy flesh from the pod and expose the command interface. The command interface is where the extremely rare and extremely forbidden servitor that you carry upon your servo pack must do its duty.
To plug myself in and the servitor into the command pod.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
It is what it is, and a priest has his duty.
Saros looks around, gauging the rest of the room as this goes on, flickering an eye every so often between the two, Mahavo and Hojo.
That's what I'm doing.
Do I notice anything in particular about the room that may stand out other than what we've seen already, or is it all just remaining the same?
As Fontis connects his systems to that of the ship and braces his mind against the onslaught of aberrant data, acting almost as a binaric shield for the interlinked servitor to begin its task, the whole room, the whole bridge shudders, and the mass of red webbing which stretches off into the misty darkness begins to change, it begins to bulge, begins to shift. The servitor interfaces the command codes into the corrupted systems, effectively burning a binary path to the core of the ship. A system so secure that as long as the ship itself remained intact, it would remain functional. You may only pray that it is sane enough to receive the override commands for the war manifold. Theros, Radagast, you see something extruding itself, something vast from the sea of red webbing, as the priest begins his communion. It resembles nothing so much more as one of the vast tumor spiders that you saw carrying the strange coils of cabling deep within the ship. However, there are components webbed into this titanic horror that you have obviously been disgorged from further within the ship. And you see within its mass the remains of ancient, debased power armor interlaced with the flesh and the circuitry.
How far is it away from me?
Probably 50-60 meters into the webbing.
Also, it's deep in there.
It's deep in there, and it's bulging and surging. This is something awakened to a true danger to the rest of the mechanism on board the bridge.
Can I do a I'm tempted to do a called shot, but it's minus 20 to weapon skill or ballistic skill, and my ballistic skill is only 33, so that's
Stab it.
It's 40. It's like 40 meters away.
Oh.
Assuming you prepared for something from far away and you took position, you should already have like the full aiming bonus.
There's a charge you get as the Blood Angels too. The Blood Angel.
Yeah,
you get like
You want to wade out into that sea of sinew?
Yeah, that's a webbing in the way. I'll never get
oh
it.
shit.
You'll never get that off your boots.
Yeah, there is that. Don't forget. Somebody's got to clean this armor.
And don't be an asshole.
That's what chapter serves for.
You too. Don't be an asshole.
What?
Malevolent, ancient tech over there. Do you think you can get a shot? Stop it.
Yes.
I begin to hack through the closest webbing to the side, away, making sure to give Hojo's character a clean shot.
Yeah, as the webbing begins to undulate, it's literally strung between what were once the skulls of the crew. However, they are no longer human. They are nodes. Have you ever seen any piece of artwork by H.R. Geiger?
Yep.
That basically, it's not exactly his work. For a start, there were a lot less penises, but it did inform some of the scenery that I envisioned for this part of the bridge.
Giant metal chewy pussy, huh?
Well, basically, his living landscapes.
I'm hacking through.
The spider coming down from this vagina is the clit.
Yeah, basically.
I got 4 swords.
I really liked Geiger's artwork, but by God, I got sick of all the sexual imagery. It's like, Jesus Christ, could you just draw something without a dick in it?
It's ridiculous, actually repressed.
You think?
So I'm hacking away at the webbing right now.
Yes, sorry, let's get back into game. I apologise for taking that for a brief moment.
Alright.
Theros, you slash at the webbing as it begins to shift, possibly beginning to form tentacles in response to this thing. The bridge shudders and shifts. The bridge itself seems to elongate almost infinitely behind this thing as the spatial distortions erupt. Radagast, what are you doing?
Preparing Metal Storm round, and as all the metal shifts, every time it stops, I fire a single shot into there.
So you are emptying your entire clip into this thing, effectively.
Single shot. Metal Storm.
Precision.
Mm-hmm.
Right. For what almost seems like hours, but can only be seconds, with spatial distortion again. You pour fire into this vast structure. The Baroque power armor interlaced with its structure is basically splattered deeper and deeper into the mass. What form or what beheld its owner, how they got on board, is a question that will never be answered. While this happens, Theros, your flashing sword keeps the machinery at bay as it attempts to swarm up onto the platform. And as this happens, it comes down to Fontis and the servitor. Fontis, you must give the ship the command codes to override its warp manifold engines and initiate a jump. You must make a tech use test. This is all on you. No pressure.
Yeah, burn those fate points.
Got one fate point left.
Do it.
Havel, you there? Sorry, are my descriptions overlong, by the way, guys?
No.
Here.
It gives us plenty of time to think.
Fontis, you must basically wrestle with the ship's deranged cogitators long enough to send the command code. The servitor, which, by the way, the stress of interfacing with this system is actually burning the cerebral cortex out of the servitor, but it was not expected to survive the experience anyway. It is loaded with some of the most forbidden codes in Battlefleet Jericho for this very purpose. How the Inquisition obtained this is a question best left unanswered. Or even asked.
I have to make a tech test?
Tech use test.
Got this. I also have different cipher stuff if that helps me with any of this.
Your ciphers may not help, but the actual servitor itself gives a +30 bonus to this test.
Well, I have Xeno cipher as well, if that makes a difference.
No, that's Xenos languages. This thing doesn't communicate in a Xenos language.
Gotcha. Tech.
So guys, try not to jinx his roll. This could be very important.
We're already fucked, aren't we?
All I see is like some ancient tech that may be useful in that power armor, and there's a big mass holding onto it, and I want to kill everything around the mass to see if the power armor's got anything useful.
I took tech use, right, and I trained it up. I spent points on it. I have a 10%.
+10. So what's your intelligence?
Yeah.
55, isn't it?
Intelligence of 55.
So that goes to 65. 95% chance on this roll for the servitor to basically penetrate the ship's cogitator systems and deliver its binary payload. Make your roll.
Yeah, 50.
That's it. That's enough. Also, can you give me a straight willpower test?
He gets a... From my first Augury roll, he gets a +20% bonus to tests involving stamina or willpower.
He does. So a willpower +20 test, if you would please, Tech Priest.
So he rolled a...
91.
91. Do you want to re-roll that?
Yeah, I'll burn my last fate point to do that. Oh no!
What's your
The
willpower?
Emperor is not with me
What's
this
your
day.
willpower?
My willpower is 44. Or no, it's 40.
So you rolled an 85. A 91, then you re-rolled it and got an 85, so you failed on
Yep.
both.
Yep, and I spent my last fate point to do it.
As the servitor completes its task, your mind is basically on the horizon of interfacing with the madness of this ship. Thanks to your superhuman mental conditioning, you are able to disengage your mind impulse unit and your cortical stack without undue damage to your psyche, but you are still foully tainted by even the merest brush of this infinite fractal living machine. Gain 1 further insanity point and 1 further corruption point.
That's not bad. I shouldn't have burnt my last fate point. Not as bad as I thought it was
No,
going to
if
be.
you'd rolled over 90 for that test and it was a failure, that becomes 1d5, 1d5. So you did avoid the 1d5, 1d5.
It could have honestly been worse.
No, because if I go insane, I go super berserk and attack everyone. Then my close combat is insane.
I got a force sword, dude. I'd go for the insta-kill.
Yeah,
I
you're
would
like
grapple
right
you.
next to Satan.
No, you don't understand. I could literally rip one of you in half.
I'm already swinging my sword, I just have to turn the direction and then force that bitch, and hopefully get a 1 to contact.
I'm far away, man. I saw this coming.
Deep within the ship, in the ship's warp manifold, a bell would have tolled if it was not wrapped up by intestinal coils of living machinery. It cannot toll, but that does not stop the intonation of a somber, flat, mechanical voice and announces through the ship. Warning, Geller field failure detected.
Goddamn.
Warp manifold failure detected. Uncontrolled warp event imminent. Techrite teams to the warp manifold. And you get the idea of those kind of announcements. I can't keep announcing them, I'm not. It's very early. Sorry. But as those sonorous tones basically warn the ship's long dead crew of the imminent risk of warp containment failure, the whole ship shudders from end to end like a wounded beast. It will take the warp engines some time, minutes perhaps, to basically engage their warp, the warp process, but there is nothing that can stop it now.
So is the ship going to blow, or is the ship going to go into warp?
This ship is going to slide into the warp without its Geller field.
Okay. Well, maybe
Do
we
you
should back
guys know
into
what
a
that
corner.
means?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. That's Slaneshi Dragon Dildo territory. So,
Yeah, basically.
Prepare your Angus.
No,
do we even know how we're getting off this ship? Just a little quick footnote.
we're teleporting off.
Yeah, check your star briefings.
Okay, we're teleporting off.
The vast spider-like construct advances on the platform, melding and reforming and breaking itself from the biomass around it as it comes. This thing would challenge an Imperial Knight for scale.
Right. I'm gonna shut the sarcophagus and activate our callback.
You tear yourself free and send the emergency signal, praying that it breaks through whatever communication interference is surrounding this ship.
We need to make sure this ship dies.
For long and agonizing moments,
The ship is gonna die. There's a minute. It can't interface because the sarcophagus is shut and the cogitator is connected to the what the fuck are they
Can
called?
we initiate the self-destruct?
No, we
It's
don't need
effective.
to. This is
Effectively,
it's gonna go into the warp and tear itself apart and be utterly destroyed.
Then let's get the fuck out of here.
That's what I'm doing.
Let's roll.
Prepare and let him work.
Shrieking alarms, some actually sounding like the alarm klaxons out of the Imperial Navy, others nothing more than a collection of shuddering tongues and inhuman shrieks and clashing metal sound through the ship as what was once known as set condition red is registered across all surviving systems.
As we're like charging up to like warp out of here, hopefully the call goes out, I'm gonna unload my bolter into any of the webbed skulls I can get my rounds into closest to me. I'm just gonna try to trash the bridge.
You unleash your fury on the bridge, attempting to cause as much chaos as possible. You cannot stall the advance of the horrible spider construct, but you can basically destroy everything that your weapons can reach.
I jump back as well and also open fire, but instead of aiming for the creature itself, I more aim towards the webbing directly in front of it that it's connecting up to.
Perhaps it'd be better if we start throwing our crack grenades. We have 3.
So to get home, like, how do we actually go? Do we leave?
Allow me
hopefully.
to your weaponry tears into the structure, which reforms and regrows, and it looms over you as no response seems to have been received from your teleportarium emergency beacon. The front of it splits open in a manner similar to the tentacle monstrosity which fought you outside the bridge, and a vast reservoir of what appears to be sort of fluid begins to spew from the orifice. But as it crashes towards you like a tidal wave of unspeakable corruption, all of a sudden you hear a distant screaming in your ears. The feel of gelid slime swamps your limbs, and with a brilliant flash of light, you transit into the warp, leaving the bridge of the Hollow King behind you. Mere moments later, you crash onto the pad of the teleportarium. Your steaming armor coated with the crustings of alien biomachinery. Immediately, Techrites basically prepared for any manner of Xenos infection. The room has already been sealed, and containment protocols at the highest level already enacted. The moment you enter, the entire room is flooded with acidic mist. Outside. Sorry, what?
Saying the one poor chapter surfer didn't make it out in time, slamming his fist against the door.
Oh no. If a surf did not make it out in time, he will be dissolved here and they will not open the door.
And to think we had no casualties so far.
But what of our mines, librarian?
As the chemical mist wafts around you, the outer edges of your armor begins to sizzle and peel. Outside the vessel, the Angelus Tenebrae breaks from its controlled orbit of the Hollow King, and with a blast of its engines slips into the void, leaving the shadowed hulk behind itself. Less than an hour later, the warp rift rips open around the Hollow King, and the ship begins to distort horribly as instead of transiting into the warp, it is sucked in as though by a hungry maw, splitting and bulging like a rotten fruit as its superstructure is torn apart by the eddies of the materium. As it's sucked into the warp, reality itself seems to fold, and for the briefest moment, a glimpse of something vast beyond imagining, infinite living machinery almost, is glimpsed through the rift, bulging out in directions the human mind was not designed to perceive. The only casualties of this are a short-range Auger station, the crew of a short-range Auger station, which had the misfortune to be one of the few stations permitted to monitor the space hulk during its approach.
And a surf.
132 living souls are purged by the Inquisition for witnessing did.
Damn good op.
In the aftermath. Of those 132 living souls, no less than 27 of them were driven irrevocably insane by the brief glimpse of the antediluvian machinery that was basically glimpsed through the rift in reality.
All the better.
That incident is classified by the Inquisition under the term Dermis Machina, the skin machine. That file is to remain sealed.
Well, brothers.
Decorate, quick, remove my armor! Do it!
Not yet. We're not done cleaning it. You don't want your seal to be breached and to be infected by the machine virus.
Maybe I want to go.
Look at the poor serf. You will end the same.
With chemical, radiation, acid, fire, and binaric decontamination, your armor is peeled of the contaminant. Although your suits will remain in maintenance for some time, they have survived, and so have you. You traversed a mechanical hell that no human could have survived, and you did your duty by the Emperor. Each of you receives your accolades from the Watch Captain. For your professional, well, for your conduct and your steadfast devotion to duty. A small honor mark is added to each of your armors, an acknowledgement. However, beyond that, there is no glory. There is no paeans sung of battles fought, for the Deathwatch fights its battles in shadow. The wider Imperium need never know the horrors kept at bay by the Astartes of the Deathwatch. As it was decreed in the millennia past, as it ever was, so ever shall it be. Congratulations, brothers. Mission successfully completed.
Nice.
Too bad I was surrounded by assholes, except for the tech marine.
Theros looks to the command window. So, is there any way of getting a transfer?
You're stuck with me, asshole.
Oh, I wasn't talking about myself, I was talking about you.
That's okay.
In the aftermath, one common way for brothers of Watch Fortress Ariok to work out the differences, and even between the warrior brotherhood of the Astartes, differences of course do crop up, is to meet in the dueling chamber and engage in a battle of wits or a battle of fists.
I will fuck you up.
Fist, huh? Means you can't use your sword.
I don't need a sword to deal with such malevolent.
Perhaps perhaps the bruising of augmented flesh and the shedding of blood which instantly hardens to cinnabar will help these two Astartes work out their differences enough that they may fight side by side without conflict. Or perhaps it will do nothing. The Imperium does not care, so long as they serve. Thank you very much, guys. I'm sorry that was only a one-shot, short, one-evening game.
Man, that was hours. You did well enough.
Yeah, man, that was good.
Did you guys get at least some enjoyment from that?
Yeah, man, it was awesome.
I learned a bit.
How did you feel about your first game, Auger?
A lot of solo mode abilities and cohesion we never went over. And
that's probably not best to introduce for a player's first game.
I understand. But I was going to go over it while we were going along. There was a lot of mistakes I could have avoided.
This was kept deliberately simple, and I'm sorry if some of the roles were simplified. But when a player's doing their first role-playing game, I try not to overwhelm them.
I understand.
So maybe something to bring up for future games. But But for this one, it was just to get used to the dice rolling mechanics and the dynamics of roleplay.
So, how much XP do we get from this?
You receive 750 experience points.
750.
I assume no renown.
I forget how the... Oh yes, the renown system, of course. Is it 15 is distinguished, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
For a successful mission into basically an alien hell ship, I'd say, and it's the intro adventure, let's add 5 renown to your total.
That's a lot.
Where do you find renown?
Right above experience.
Is that too much for you, Hoja, or too little? Would you prefer more or less?
Well, let's put it this way. That's on board a ship. That was maybe like 3 hours worth of running, even if distorted.
It should have been harder. We managed to luck out with early rolls.
Yeah, I started off with that fucking roll 1 in my augury, so...
A lot of,
Okay.
we were also under a time limit there, and a lot of our early rolls helped us to save a lot of time. Like, if we had rolled poorly and consistently rolled poorly, we would have failed just on time limit.
Yeah, basically. If the ship got too close to the planet, even the warp transit could have endangered it.
Then we could have ripped a warp hole into the planners.
There was also there was at least, depending on how the rolls went, there was actually at least 2 more horde battles against flesh melt horrors and those mechanical spiders carrying umbilical cords as well.
Which one of us would have been severely hurt, and if we had the mechanical spiders too, one of us might have died in the last fight against the tentacle.
Not to punish you guys for having a small team, but to present enough of a threat, but also to provide a way to bypass many of those things if your rolls were lucky. Fuck me, they were lucky.
Yeah, that's true. So,
All right.
how many renown did you say we got?
Oh,
5.
5 renown. Bear in mind that if that seems a lot, you basically made your way through a Obscuro class threat using an under strength combat team.
Taking no wounds or casualties.
Yeah, so to give you an idea, Deathwatch, as far as Fantasy Flight games go, is pretty easy going on killing characters. All their other ones, one of us would have died, or we would have failed the mission somehow.
Oh Christ, this mission, basically, this mission couldn't even really have been done by a Dark Heresy character.
Yeah.
Because once you reach, remember the alien circuitry bit?
Yeah.
Basically, for a non-hypno-conditioned character, i.e. an Astartes, every few minutes you're making a willpower roll which gets progressively harder and harder and harder, and every time you fail it's 1d5 insanity and 1d5 corruption. Basically, the ship would have reprogrammed your minds, literally hacked your brains just by looking at its interior.
So Theros looks from the other marine, nods, heads for a bath to try and reduce his 1 fatigue and to reduce his insanity if at all possible.
Yeah, what's up with that? Do we lose the insanity and corruption over time?
No, they are permanent for the moment, but there are methods in the book basically to help reduce them, and it's acts of penance and faith, I believe, for corruption, and for insanity it can be literally being permitted, and whisper these words carefully because they are very unusual for an Astartes, permitted the equivalent of downtime. Now, for an Astartes, downtime usually means additional combat duty. No, seriously, for some Astartes, I believe there was one signature character in Deathwatch, they couldn't take him off active duty.
It's the same with Tycho. Every time he was off duty, he prayed for deployment. I've realised I don't have an insanity point. It was just fatigue point. Will that remain or will that go away?
No, that will fade within minutes with proper rest for an Astartes.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, Tycho, he basically, the chapter realised as he descended deeper and deeper into combat stress that it was actually more stressful for him to remain outside of combat with his own thoughts than it was for him to remain in battle.
Yeah, Tycho was a fucking beast.
So,
do we get any kind of bonus of any kind for experience or anything, or do we get requisition towards the next battle, or
requisition is granted upon mission start.
Oh, okay.
As Hoja said, it's actually assigned mission by mission by the GM.
Do we get any bonuses for RP?
Well, I think five renown to get to start basically your path towards ranking up, and 750 experience points is. Would you say that's reasonable or unreasonable, Hoja?
That's reasonable.
I don't think any of us have an idea if it's reasonable or not. From my perspective, I just want some more free stuff.
I think that's a good reward. The renown helps you get free stuff, basically.
Yeah.
Helps you get better equipment. Makes your requisition worth more, basically.
I think it's basically when you reach 15 and reach the first renown rank, it's basically you've busted your chops in the Deathwatch, effectively. That's when veteran Marines will start considering you as having been blooded, effectively.
Some kind of knowledge.
Yeah. You've earned your first stripes, effectively. Because even though you can have decades of experience as an Astartes, service in the Deathwatch is different to the normal battle operations experienced by many Codex chapters and non-Codex chapters. It's an entirely different kind of war, and it requires a particular type of Astartes to properly prosecute. So even though you are all equals as battle brothers, veteran Deathwatch Marines will watch their new inductees relatively closely, basically, until they have committed, basically reached their first renown rank and proven their ability to meet the alien on an entirely new battlefield. At least that's what I understand. I could be wrong with the fluff, but I think that's basically how it works. Pecking order, it's everywhere. It's just, more glorious with the Astartes. Anyway, I hope you got some enjoyment out of that, guys. It was only intended to be the basic game.
Yeah, that was really good. When will we do it again?
I have no idea. You need to get on to... Is it AG Madman?
No, it was Hammer and Set.
Hammer. You need to get onto Hammer and hammer him about what's going on with his actual campaign.
Well, I think that would be a completely separate entity.
Alright, okay. Well, ask him if you can carry his stuff in.
He was wanting to make a character to join this one as well until he got all his stuff sent over from Puerto Rico.
Oh god, yeah, he was in Puerto Rico, isn't he? Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, where is he now?
He hasn't lost his house or anything, has he?
He's moved to America to live with his aunt, I think it is. But
but where?
He wrote the campaign when he had no electricity, so he's got all on paper and he's getting it sent over. That's why he was wanting to see if he could jump in on this campaign while he waits for it.
I have no idea, Mum. I have to see when, feasibility and basically on prior commitments during the week. But I'll have a look.
Well, I mean, we're all free.
Do you want to put up with my GMing again?
Yeah,
you did good.
I say we do tomorrow.
Hey, sometime tomorrow, perhaps we should do a little bit more freeform in our equipment.
If you're up for
very
it,
streamlined.
If you're up for it, Juicer, we will do it again tomorrow. If you think you could do that.
Wait a minute. What does Hoja mean by more freeform with the equipment?
Well, you basically told us, alright, we need this Auger. No specs would be a really good idea. Here, have this fucking psychic hood. Don't fuck it up.
Don't you take my psychic hood away?
Hey,
I'm not saying take it away. I'm just saying perhaps grant them the ability to get it.
So...
Oh, you mean basically for certain things ignore the rank prerequisites as happened with the specialist equipment at the start?
Yes, in some instances, because there is just suggestion kind of took us by the hand. Here, have this convy bolter.
Hey,
Here.
if the person,
you'll need this shit.
the person in charge of the mission is issuing me an auger, I have no problems with that.
I too have
sorry-
no
sorry
problems with getting
Sorry
free
if that
stuff.
was not
Do not listen to him, Juicer. It is his character. He is trying to get you to not give us nice stuff. Do
No,
not
no.
listen to
It's, if you felt it was railroading your equipment choices, I apologise.
No, it's not that, because like that's your job. You're basically like the Deathwatch captain telling us, "Hey, don't be stupid. Take this shit." But at the same time, no requisition means that we can't actively make our own suggestions.
Yeah, I would have taken something other than the bolter.
Oh
Yeah.
right. Well, you could have suggested it. That was actually at the start. It was like,
No,
is
but-
there anything else that you wish to?
It had to be streamlined, though. This is why I'm agreeing with your actions.
Yeah, I think what he's trying to
You
say
sound like,
is,
what I'm saying is, you don't sound like you want to agree with them, and that's perfectly fine. I apologise if that's.
No, I'm saying I
Acknowledge you.
want to get off these training wheels.
I think what he's trying to say, Juicer, is that since we had no requisition, he agrees with you. Agrees with you having given us stuff, but he's looking forward to
Actually
getting
getting
used
stuff.
getting used to the
Yeah,
game
fair
enough where he can get into it. But I think it's literally because this is a tutorial mission.
Yeah, I understand.
Effective, man. Sorry, man. I hope I didn't
You
disappoint
did
terribly
nothing
for the
wrong,
first game.
goddammit!
I'm going to slink away into the darkness now.
You did nothing wrong! You cocksucker.
But yeah, Juicer, if you're game for it, I mean, I'm not sure if you're going to be able or not, but we'd definitely be down for this tomorrow.
Just want to sleep.
Sleep is for the weak. Deathwatch is for
I shall see if I can think of something. Please, mercy.
Go to sleep, man.
It took a lot to write that. Oh yeah, sorry about the weird mix of like oral description and paragraphs.
No, it was really good.
That was actually perfect.
So it's just that I have trouble remembering descriptions, so it helps if I write them sometimes.
Felt like we were walking through a giant metal urethra the whole time for hours. So yeah, you did great.
Welcome to the Deathwatch. Sometimes it's full of Necrons, other times it's full of Tyranids.
And I didn't turn into a Fleshgate once.
Yeah, as long as you're playing a librarian, there's always potential for that. Unless, of course, you constantly use things fetid, in which case there's very little chance for that.
That's my plan.
I didn't really get into close combat.
You were denied.
I got to close combat. It was
To
good.
be honest, one thing got into close combat once and then proceeded to miss with all of its fucking attacks.
That was hilarious.
Oh no, I got into close combat once and I got all of mine.
Basically, the thing was so large, it had one attack against each of you, not because it was using lightning attack, which is basically full auto for melee attacks. It's a case of the creature is so large, one of its special rules was it can basically attack the kill team, if you know what I mean.
That's hilarious.
It proceeded to miss fucking everything.
That was great.
I'm going to see the armory and go and inspect the war spirits of our equipment because that crack grenade was underpowered.
Yeah, it was compared to what a crack grenade can do, it was a little bit of a wet fart, wasn't it?
He got a really bad
Yeah.
roll.
Because those things are supposed to like break tanks open. I think that one would just about have broken a guardsman open.
You know, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure tanks are covered in armor, and that's what that crack grenade ignores. And that's where the specialty comes from.
Pen 6.
Well, shit.
Yeah, actually, if you look up the vehicle stats in one of the expansion books, crack grenades have a really hard time against things like APCs and stuff.
Alright, let's leave them at home. Time to just start shooting shit.
It's actually one of the reasons they downgraded the Space Marine bolter to be slightly more in line with the normal non-Astartes bolter, because when it was initially released, the Deathwatch bolters were basically so powerful there was very little reason to take any other gun.
Yeah, I could see that. Its damage outline.
It was pretty ridiculous. The place to find the latest weapon stats and that, by the way, is the Living Errata. And this website, by the way, this is invaluable. Let me just grab it. This is basically a collection of like weapon stats, living errata, bestiary, armory, weapons, you name it from the role-playing games, basically they've got it.
I think that was a very, very successful first mission. We locked out all the shit. We had like very little issues. I think I missed 2 bolter rounds. One was a bolt pistol.
And it was such a target-rich environment that even by missing, you'd have probably destroyed something.
Yeah.
Made a hole in the ground. Several. I shot at the ground and I missed the thing.
Oh no.
Made a hole in the ground.
One of your shots fucked you up on the big thing.
Yeah. But initially, I made
Holy
some...
shit, Hoji, you did so much damage to that thing, seriously.
Said for your 2 attack rounds, you basically killed it.
That's okay. There'll be another one.
My force sword fucked up, let's not forget about that.
But your force sword put it down for good. It couldn't mutate into 1,000 little spider things. Fuck us.
Did you like my little short-range telepathy?
Yep.
No!
It's very appropriate, basically, to let the enemy know that you kill them not with sort of detached professionalism, but with burning hatred. That's the way of the Astartes.
The Emperor ended that foe.
Don't ever do that again, you crazy motherfucker.
Well, actually, technically, Hoja ended like 70% of that foe.
You should see how we interrogate humans.
Oh god, Dark Angel interrogation. Oh shit.
Blood Angel.
Oh wait, Hoja's playing a Marine's Malevolent. Somebody take his bolter off him.
Yeah, but what the fuck is it called? That's what the auto pistol's for.
I'm a cruel creature with connection directly into the brains of others, and the ability to open up visions of the warp. I got very interesting interrogation techniques.
I got a giant clamp.
I don't need them to be intimidated by me. I just need them to be intimidated by what they see.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a Perils of the Warp where no matter what power you try to use, you like for a split second you glimpse into the warp itself unprotected. That happened in Dark Heresy when somebody tried to use a healing power to basically patch up one of the damaged acolytes, and instead gave the whole party insanity points.
That sounds about right.
So I was
Side
playing.
powers are not nice.
Playing only war. Sorry. We're
No, go ahead. Sorry, I was interrupting you.
I was playing only war, and we made these characters fully expecting them to die, and they were all assholes. Like, like scumbags from Deathworld, and we constantly stole from our other Imperial Guard units and shit like that. And basically,
Imperial Guard.
Yeah, and so we went out on our missions, and we were really successful for the first 3 missions, right? None of us died. Stunning success. We just kept half-assing it through these things.
Wait, what?
And because of equipment choices, things like that. Yeah. So we fucking got to this one mission where we had to defend a Promethean depot from these orcs that we'd been fighting for a while the last couple of missions. And we knew that there was no way that we were going to defend this depot, because if any explosions or bolt rounds hit any of the Promethean tanks around us, which basically the whole thing was basically like a Promethean refinery, it was going to blow up and take us with it. So
your charcoal corpse would land on Terra itself.
Right. So we went to the extreme range of the explosion, and when the orcs showed up and started looting everything, we set the tanks off and blew up the orcs.
Oh, I can imagine the Monitorum was happy with that.
We got transferred to a penal battalion. And, like, we survived the mission, got transferred to a penal battalion, and sent on a mission which turned out to have been taken from the Deathwatch campaign book, but we didn't know it. And we actually survived the mission. Deathwatch mission. Yes, we killed it. We fought the Dark Eldar, killed the abomination they had on the ship, did our job, got out, and as a result, we transferred all our characters over to Dark Heresy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
The dice must have loved you.
So 6 games, and one of them was a Deathwatch mission, and then we went over to Dark Heresy.
I actually know, like, the role-playing group which used to do Monday nights. Yeah, the players there, they went through like 2 characters apiece in only in one session.
No, we couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe how long these guys lived.
Holy shit.
Like, yeah. And the GM didn't tell us that he'd pulled the last mission from a Deathwatch mission either.
Can you imagine the GM's
So
face?
we were just going in the same way, like just fucking kill whatever came up to us.
Holy crap.
That's
ridiculous.
Steal as many grenades as you can, bring as many grenades as you can on the mission, and throw them at the enemy. At one point, I tried to shove a grenade into someone's stomach. It blew up in my hand, and I thought, well, there goes my character. And instead, I got the best roll I could. So the grenade goes off in my guy's hand, right? And the guy I tried to shove the grenade into, who had the stomach wound, survived somehow. So me and him are both looking at this grenade that went off in my hand while this battle's going on around us, and we're both alive.
Dud grenade.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, holy shit.
Alright.
Usually you lose a character like per engagement in that game.
Yeah. I remember
Supposed to have like 2 sheets
about
made.
Penal battalions actually talking of that dud grenade going off. The Imperial Guard, one of the penal battalions, its tradition is basically it takes all the penal prisoners and they're all issued a suicide collar. They fight in the battle, and any survivors have their collars activated. So even if they live, technically they die, but a certain number of collars are duds. And basically, if the prisoner survives the battle and his collar turns out to be a dud and doesn't go off, he's considered to have been, basically the way fate has sort of played out, they're considered to have been forgiven by the Emperor.
God damn.
Yeah, so they're absolved of their previous sins and allowed to join another regiment or leave basically as they see fit. And that's actually a tradition in some penal legions, is basically you will fight in this battle, most of you will die, but the Emperor will spare some of you. Those are the forgiven.
Yeah.
It's grim as
Well,
fuck, man. It really is.
In 2nd edition, there were suicide bombers you could get that were penal battalion troops.
Yeah. Human grenades.
Yep, they have satchel charges strapped to them.
The Death Corps, is it? Janissary Corps? Janissaries? They have
Death Corps
suicide
Krieg?
bombers. Still.
Yeah, that sounds like the Death Corps Krieg.
The Janissary bombers, the Janissaries have suicide bombers still.
Was it the Janissaries as well? The
The
KBN
Janissaries
Janissaries?
or the Death Corps, one or the other.
Hmm.
I don't know about the Death Corps.
Janissaries are like really, really zealous, aren't they?
Yeah, they're the ones with the
Janissaries.
polished metal masks.
Yeah, it's Janissaries that have them.
They come from a pilgrim world. Like, there's holy shrines that people are constantly visiting.
That's right, they take anyone, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that's been on the pilgrimage can be accepted into the ranks.
I'm pretty sure they can command other Imperial units, and a lot of the time they use other Imperial units. They just sort of give them some metal bombs and be like, go.
Holy shit.
But yeah, it was really good.
Rick.
So any idea what's next on the agenda?
Not a clue. Just going to the loo. I've been holding it in for a while now.
Okay. What to spend my 750 points on?
Get some forbidden lore. Do it.
I've got tons I can spend on, like cyber
But you
abilities.
can't. You have 700 experience points. That's not the same as skill points, is it?
I think so. We should clarify with Juicer when he comes back. I thought it was 750 experience we got.
Don't forget the 1,000 you start with, unless you already spent that.
I
Spent that on all kinds of Cypher stuff.
Yeah, I spent that straight away. I spent on Warp Sense, which was 500. Dodge, which was 300. Oh, I've got another one as well, so another 200 ones on. Oh, and I got an extra weapon skill +5 for Librarian. I'll find out exactly which one that was.
I think I bought Furious Charge and then 3 different Cyphers. Actually, I can't remember which one I spent my 500 points on. I have 100 points left over. I spent 200 on Cypher, 200 on another Cypher, and then 500 on one of my other abilities, but I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Frenzy, because I don't think I come with Frenzy base. That's what it was.
Yeah, I got weapon skill advancement for 200.
I got nothing, because I have a hoarding mentality.
But if you have a... Are you talking about yourself or your character?
Why can't I mean both?
Then you're just being a jackass.
Is that not my character? Is that not me?
No reason not to spend points.
Yeah, so I've got 750 to spend, and
Relax, I'll spend them.
I got this.
I can help you with a build if you want.
Nah, I'm alright.
You should be a fucking Devastator and just carry around satchel charges.
That sounds hilarious. That sounds like I'm gonna kill everyone.
Actually,
Let's
you
not
could
do
get the
that.
frag launcher, which is like a Deathwatch machine gun that shoots grenades or something like that.
Oh, that does sound pretty cool.
So Frenzy's 400 points, that's what I bought. So, and then the 2 Cyphers, 200, 200, so I have 100 left over.
There's so much stuff I can get, man. I can get
I have
Foresight.
200 left over.
I get Foresight for 600.
Maths, why are maths so hard? So I have 900 points to spend now.
God, I'm lighter.
What?
750 points we got, is that can be used to buy skills and shit, right?
750, yeah, you should be able to buy some stuff with that.
Is that
Yeah.
like for skills and whatnot?
Yeah, look at your advances, it'll tell you the cost.
Yeah.
Alright. I didn't know if there's a difference between the skill points that we have and level and all that.
Yeah, basically,
had the-
once you get a certain number of experience points, you go up a level. And the Renown's like its own level system. It gets a little bit complicated.
So what rank are we? Are we still rank 1 just now?
I think you are anyway.
Is there a place on my sheet to write down how many points I have?
On oh yeah, there is actually, yeah. You got the
Okay.
sheets I'm using. It's on the sheet with the power armor, I think. It should be there as experience at the bottom somewhere.
Total should now read 1,750, and then total to spent or total spent on my guy should be 900. No, wait.
No, you start with 12,000. That makes up the skills you start with. So you got 1,000 to spend when you first started, and then we've just got 750. So for the 1,000 you had to start with, you used all them, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I used 800 points. I have 200 left over from that.
So you got 950 left to spend.
Yes.
So how much points did your current skills cost?
The Frenzy cost 400, and Cypher Deathwatch cost 200. Cypher Inquisition cost 200. Or not. No, not Cypher Deathwatch. Cypher Inquisition cost 200, and Cypher Xenos cost 200.
Okay, so yeah, you spent 800. Yes, you got 950 points to spend. See, I spent all of my points. I got let's see, I got Warp Sense for 500, Dodge Training for 300, and Weapon Skill plus 5 for 200.
Oh wait, Cypher Deathwatch did cost 200, so I spent all my points. I thought I was like, well, this doesn't make sense. I wouldn't have left 200 points.
Yeah, I spent every single one of my first 1,000.
Is your graphics card okay, by the way, Sin, after what it was doing earlier?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was doing. I think it was just freaking out for. I think it was like something in the background to try to start up. Because I could see
that
the
can
desktop
happen.
background every now and again, so I'm not sure what the hell it was doing.
Ah, was it flickering the background and then going black again?
No, kind of. It was mostly just black. Like I had like a program running. Like it was trying to start up a game, but then when I alt tabbed every now and again, you would see the desktop background, but then it'd go away again.
Yeah, it sounds like basically the program was trying to trigger the graphics card, and basically the graphics card was spazzing out. I used to get that with if I Control-Alt-Delete to open Task Manager on, I think it was MechWarrior Online, under like a couple of patches ago for the drivers. Basically, it just lose its freaking mind.
So, have I advanced Deathwatch Tech Marine Advanced 2 now?
I think we're still one.
What's the requirement to reach rank 2? Because you do actually count the 1,000 experience points you receive at the start towards it.
I'm trying to find where it says. Oh, the name, by the way, of the regiment that I was in and only wore was the Ball-Sacking 69th. And our special equipment was a grappling hook gun.
What does Foresight give you as a skill?
I have no idea, which is a really, really bad indictment of Foresight, I suppose. I have none.
On our Deathworld home planet, you had to look out for bubbles in the water, because that was the hyena crocodiles.
Hyena crocodiles? They sound fun.
Yep. Size of a city bus.
Ah, macrofauna. Have you ever read that Catachan short story? Where basically the Catachan jungle fighters are being deployed to a war zone, and they've been cooped up on board the ship for like weeks, and they're starting to get antsy, and they're going down, and this particular transport takes a hit. It's going down. It kind of has a rough landing, and they find that they're on a Deathworld. The campaign's on Deathworld, and one of the troops pops his head out the hatch and has a look around. He comes back in, and then asks, "What's out there?" He said, "You're not going to believe it. There's acid spitting plants. There's everything. There's all the trees and that are poisonous. Everything's trying to kill us. It's just like home." I like the Catachans. One of the most dangerous death worlds in the entire Imperium.
I read one Catachan book where they talk about hunting the devil with the Catachan devil with a knife.
Oh, Jesus, the Catachan devil. Have you seen one of those things?
I haven't seen a picture of it, no.
You can grab it.
And then they get to one of the planets later on, and like a plant runs up. Like this plant actually moves, and it runs up and basically like eats a guardsman and spits acid all over him. And they're like the Catachan are like, yeah, okay. All the regular guardsmen are like, fuck, kill it, like freaking out, all unloading on it.
It's never been actually, as far as I'm aware, it's never had like an official picture, but this one's pretty common for it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that thing.
They're huge, right?
Yeah, they're like bigger than a rhino. I think the whole thing about killing a Catachan devil with a knife is for the officers. Or is it a Catachan panther or something that they have to kill? I know they have to kill something dangerous.
Maybe he wasn't going out to kill it, and maybe it ambushed him, and that's what he ended up killing instead. That might have been.
Yeah, that sounds like Sly Marbo's Tuesday morning.
Yeah, he's in the book actually, and he just shows up in these places, and everyone's like, "Oh, Sly Marbo."
Well, have you ever read the short story about when basically he's issued a medal?
No.
Basically, a Catachan officer. The story starts with him going out into the edge of the Catachan jungle, and he's carrying a medal case with him, and he goes to the edge of the jungle and he waits, and he doesn't bother looking around. He hears a rustle in the bushes behind him. He says, "Hello, Marbo." And it's Sly Marbo just emerging from the jungle, and the officer turns to him and says, "You've won another one." And he shows him the medal case, and Marbo doesn't react. He says, "Do you want me to put it with the others?" And he just nods, and he slips away back into the jungle. The officer doesn't even see him go. He's just gone. And the officer sighs, heads back to the base, and he goes to a quarters. Goes to Sly Marbo's quarters, enters the room. It's got a bed, and there's nothing. Basically, the room's dusty. He's never in there. He's issued it. He's required to have it, but he's never there. And the whole room is just festooned with medals. It's just every surface is covered with awards for heroism, everything basically. And he just adds this medal to a pressure case containing other medals, and none of the medals have ever been looked at. They've never been touched. They've never been polished. The whole room is just basically Marbo's career. He's never seen it. I thought it was cool.
I believe that story is more of a joke, playing on the absurdity of his legend.
Oh, he is an absurd character, and
Oh yeah, I mean, they had to take him out of continuity for a while because he was too... Everybody knows he's a tribute to Rambo. He's Sly Stallone's Rambo, basically.
Yeah.
And it was so close that basically, for fear of litigation, Games Workshop had to take him out of circulation for a bit.
in the book, in the Catachan book that I was reading, like just written from the Catachan, one of the stories, the main character knows he's on the right path, like doing, like out in the jungle, like pursuing the right target, because he keeps bumping. He bumps into Sly Marbo at 2 different points in the book, and Sly just nods at him and keeps going, and he's like, "Oh yeah," it's like Sly knows what's up. Then something's going on. Like it's ridiculous.
One of my favourite short stories was actually from the old Imperial Guard Codex, and it's Nork Dead Dog, what's he called?
He's an Ogren.
The Ogren bodyguard officer kind of type, and he's serving with an officer who gets injured, and basically he's lying outside the Rhino APC, and he says to him, "Nork, there's a medikit in the APC. I want you to bring it here." And Nork salutes with both arms just to be double sure. He runs off to the rhino, and this officer's lying there. He's like half dead. He's really badly injured. He's just lying there, and he hears this really loud metallic scraping sound, and it scrapes and then it stops, and it scrapes again. It's getting a bit closer, and the officer's lying there, and he thinks, "Wait. Did I tell him to bring the medical kit, or did I just tell him that it's in the rhino? Can you bring..." Oh no. And he looks, and Nork is dragging the rhino to the officer, because he was told to bring it to him.
Aw, yeah.
Oh, I was wrong. We did lose one character in only where it was the Ogren.
Big target?
We tried to put him on an elevator.
Wait, what?
Ogrens
Story.
They do not like enclosed spaces, and they do not like the dark.
Oh.
And the power was out on the ship, and we went into an elevator.
What happened?
He failed his willpower tests and ran screaming into the enemy.
Wait, and he died? Wouldn't that have just have acted like a bowling ball into pins?
But it was the mission that we didn't know was the Deathwatch mission. So he took all of the immediate fire and died from poison.
Deathwatch grade fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I think I know what I might get with my 750. I'm seeing what I need in order to get. Make sure I can actually get it. Just
Still can't find where it says advancement. You probably could just Google it and have already found it.
I must say,
gotcha.
under the requisition system, as the game's written, your choices when you're like base rank, when you first renown rank, are so freaking limited. As in, you know, getting your own equipment goes. Like, if you want anything even vaguely interesting, it has to be issued to you by basically by the mission giver.
That's a lot of XP.
It really is, but what do Astartes start with in Deathwatch? It's a fuck ton.
12,000.
12,000.
With an additional 1,000, but you cannot use the
Wait.
additional 1,000 to gain a rank.
We start with 12,000?
It's already spent on
12,000.
your advances and stats and stuff.
yeah, that's what makes up your starting stat.
Gotcha.
So basically, you start at 13,000, and so you've got 13,750 now, is it?
That sounds about right.
Question is, what do I want to take?
You want to take a Catachan barking toad as a pet.
No.
How loud does it bark?
Have you not heard of the Catachan barking toad?
Okay, that's too loud. I understand.
Oh no, it's not called the barking toad because it barks. It's called the barking toad because it explodes.
Yes, that is too loud. It is useless. I don't want it.
Well, it's one of the safest creatures in the galaxy. It lives on Catachan, and nothing bothers it. It's not got claws. It's not got teeth. Nothing on Catachan bothers it.
All right.
Aren't you curious?
No.
This thing's from way back, but I'll show. There's a Empress text-to-speech device video that I'll show you in a sec. But basically, the Catachan barking toad is the most poisonous creature in the galaxy. It is #1 toxic. Its poison is so potent it will melt straight through marine power armor and melt straight through the marine inside without stopping, basically. And the Catachan barking toad's defense is that if anything bothers it, it explodes. And I think in the description of one of the old codexes, if a Catachan barking toad explodes, it kills everything for dozens of meters around it instantly and scours the planet pretty much to the bedrock.
If it explodes, what?
It's basically a poison bomb. If it's bothered, or if anything tries to kill it or predate, if anything so much as touches it, it detonates. And it kills everything around it in a cloud of the galaxy's most virulent poison.
Alright.
I think I might have, the thing I was initially going to go for, I couldn't get without getting long range telepathy, and I can't be fucked getting that. I've only got short range telepathy. So I might leave that for later. That was Mind Probe.
Might get a signature warrior.
I'm kind of, oh no, that shit, that's 1,000 points, fuck. I was going to get Bloodlands, but no. I'm 250 short.
So you start at 0.56, and it's the Catachan barking toad.
Yes, I don't want it. I don't care if it's gonna be a pet and doesn't want to kill me.
So looking at this skill here, Juicer, it's called Might of Heroes, and it's from the Blood Angel's Psychic Powers. It costs 500. Summing up a Deep Well of Rage, while this power is in effect, the Blood Angel's Librarian adds +5 times PR.
Power rating. Or psi rating, rather.
That'd be psi rating, so yeah, so plus, so it'd be 5 times 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it says to a max of 95. That might be useful.
Actually, if you're looking for a psychic power which is just good for every librarian, you might want to look at Smite.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I wanted to get something a bit different.
What are these? Are these talents that y'all are talking about, or what?
Well, I'm looking at psychic powers.
Huh?
I'm looking at psychic abilities.
Okay.
Can I take psychic abilities?
You're not a librarian. What fancy technique stuff do you get?
Fancy stuff you wouldn't understand.
These... Wow, shit.
Thinking about getting a piece of signature war gear for 500 points from the Space Marine advances. You guys could get tech use for 800.
Okay, those would be defined as talents and or traits, no?
Hojo, you could get literacy. Yes. Page 61.
I could get Avenger for 500. That's the librarian summons up the ancestors of his chapter and shapes them into a flaming vengeful avatar of death. The construct billows forward to incinerate those in its path. The Avenger power works exactly like a shot from a heavy flamer, with all the usual chance to hit and set targets on fire. However, Due to the horrific nature of the psychic flames, the penetration of the attack is equal to 2 times psychic rating. So how would a heavy flamer with 6 penetration be?
I'm not sure we can get a heavy flamer yet. I think that requires more renown points.
No, that would be that's a psychic ability that I can get with no prerequisites. I could either get
that would be pretty damn useful.
That would either be that one with so a heavy flamer with times so with 6 penetration, or
that could potentially kill a Terminator, I believe.
Or I can get smite.
6 penetration.
Yeah, heavy flamer with 6 penetration.
I don't think that'll go through Terminator armor, will it?
6 pen's the same as a crack grenade.
True. I know power armor's got an invulnerable save though. Terminator armor.
So let's see smite. Smite must target a single creature. However, it may affect others nearby depending on its power. The librarian doesn't need to make a ballistic skill test to hit. However, his focus power test is modified as if he was making a ranged attack, using bonuses and penalties for range, lighting, enemy targets, enemy talents, etc. Smite deals 1d10 energy damage times psychic rating.
So 3d10 for you.
The penetration equal to his PR, so penetration of 3.
3d10 damage, penetration 3. That's almost a crack grenade.
Which one, gents, do you think, smite or the heavy flamer one?
Oh, that's a tricky one.
It's 3d10 or the Avenging power that says it works exactly like a shot from an Adeptus Astartes heavy flamer. See page 145. Usual chance to hit and
Smite will scale up with your power.
Pardon?
Smite will scale up with your psi rating.
Yes, but the penetration on the heavy flamer is 2 times psi rating, so that one scales up too.
Oh, okay.
So if I get to psi 4, that'll have an 8 penetration.
What's the range on smite?
Let's find out.
Because if it's significantly longer than the heavy flamer,
its range is 10 meters times psychic rating, so 30 meters.
That's actually quite reasonable.
The other one, Avenger, range is 30 meters. Oh, that's a tough one.
It is actually. Does the Avenger hit everything along the blast like a heavy flamer?
It just says it works exactly like a shot from the heavy flamer, then it tells you the page number for heavy flamer. With the usual chance to hit and
really powerful.
With the usual chance to hit and set targets on fire, but with 2 times psychic rating penetration. I'm gonna get Avenger. I'll still have 250 points left over.
Nice. Right guys, I'm dead on my feet. I'm gonna have to sleep.
Thanks for that, it's much appreciated. It was good fun.
Thank you for your patience. It wasn't perfect, not by far, but if you got even a little bit of enjoyment out of it, then I did my job.
We got quite a lot, man. I would say if you're willing to throw some random cobble bullshit together tomorrow, we'd definitely be willing.
I need to sleep.
Oh, 9-9.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will kick you out if you stay here any longer.
Thank you. Hoja, carry me to bed.
Show me the way home.
No carry? Oh shit. Right, fine, I'll crawl there myself then. Right, thank you again guys.
Have a good one.
Just threw him into the chapel. Turns out the kick would kick him from the server, and I did not read that well enough. So I did not do that.
Did you just kick him?
No, but I almost did.
Get a piece of signature war gear, but at our current renown level it would just be basic gear, but then I wouldn't have to pay rec for it and it would always be with my character.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go on this armory and I'm going to find close combat weapons, and if I can find a chain weapon, then all bets are off.
Get a chainsword or go and find one of the expansion books where the chain axe is.
I'm on that website that he recommended that has all the weapons from all the expansions on it.
Alright. Go look for a chain axe or an eviscerator. Why not?
I don't know if I can get a chain axe though.
That's something that can happen. Deathwatch doesn't care, man.